We hear you. We hear all the doubt.
This is impossible.
The most difficult schedule anyone has ever seen.
We feel the weight of your expectation. We sense the pressure, the anticipation, and we love it.
We welcome the challenge.
This is why you come to the SEC. This is why you play at Florida, is for these matchups. We want to play at the highest level against the greatest competition.
So go after like your life depends on it. Go after like your family depends on it. Get it on me, get it on 3, 1, 2, 3, go. You're in a special place that has history, that has tradition. Flip the switch, no fear.
We're just more looking to prove ourselves right.
We know what people are saying, but we're here to strive together to go win.
Flip the switch, boys and girls. Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to the best day of the week. It's a banger. I'm fired up. I was hyped up. I'm jumping up in my seat. We have an absolute banger in store for you. Not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 guests for today's show. Sit back, relax. I'm going to run out of air all night long. Montrell Johnson's getting the start. Boys, it's game week. Miami time, boys and girls. The moment we've been waiting for. And I know Swoter is chomping at the bits right now, ripping through his shirt, boys and girls. So let's dive into it. Mr. Swoter, what up, big dog? What up, big dog?
Hey, I don't normally do this, but it's game week. I got my drink in hand right here, baby. Let's get it. Let's go.
Almost 300 strong in under 2 minutes. Smash the like button. We're going for 1,000 viewers live tonight, boys. Smash it. Let YouTube know we're humming. We're here. For our very first guest, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring it over to Florida Victorious, Mr. Nate Barbera. Nate, how we doing, man?
No, doing great. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. How you fired up now? I told you we were going to come in swinging.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, I was in Gainesville today. I was walking around the facility, seeing everything, man. Everybody is pumped.
I love it.
It's gonna be a hell of a week.
It's going to be a great time. And look, man, we want to knock this bad boy off. We've been talking about the big week that we're going to have coming up here for High Top. Friday, we're going to be at Alma Mater at 4, but right after that, season kickoff party with Florida Victorious. Let's talk about it. What can we look forward to at this event, man?
It's going to be awesome. We are sold out of tickets for the season kickoff party. It's at Chomp the Block located. We got our own special space with blocked off. We'll have food, drinks, cash bar, have 6 athletes from 6 different sports that are going to be hanging out with us, coming through men's basketball, women's basketball, softball, baseball, gymnastics. And we're gonna have a meet and greets there. We have a bunch of different tailgate games to play. It's a cool way for people to kick off football season. Our members get in free and $30 at the door. So it's going to be a great way to get things started.
We're fired up to be there. Like I said, Dave and I will be there. The High Top boys will bring in all the heat. And usually I'm at these events interviewing, talking. This time I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be part of the guest. I'm gonna be part of the party. So I'm fired up for that.
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
I'm excited, man. I do want to talk about Florida Victorious a little bit, NIL, how there's been so many changes since Florida Victorious has started, since we spoke last year when I talked to you a couple of times. It's changed so frequently. Tell us a little bit about where it's headed and how people obviously can be a part of Florida Victorious, which is always the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we know that Florida Victorious is a critical part of winning today. NIL is key to victory for the Gators, and so it's really important that everybody stays involved. There is a big change coming next July. This is going to look very different. Next July, there's revenue share coming where the athletic department will be able to pay players directly. And so next year it's going to look, it's basically going to level the playing field with everybody. Everybody's going to have a $20 to $22 million salary cap that they'll be able to use with players. And so this is our chance this year to take advantage of this opportunity. We've got a 9-month window, 10-month window to get after it. I feel pretty confident that we're a top 10 NIL collective in the country. We're doing really, really well. The support's been phenomenal, up and down the ladder from Gators of all over the place. But we need to put our foot down, pedal to the metal to drive this until we get to this revenue share. And so we need everybody's support. Right, the memberships are key. From $15 a month, 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks. I mean, That's it. All the way up to our top members at $250 a month. If you're a business owner, a corporate sponsorship is awesome. It makes a huge difference. We've got all these players you can see over here helping out. We have our nonprofit foundation, where if you are interested in a tax donation, that's a great way to get involved. At the end of the day, we're here for one reason only. We're here to help the Gators win. And I'll tell you, man, it's been a pleasure and a blessing to get to know these guys and ladies that we work with. They all are working their tails off. Our football team has a chip on their shoulder, and they're ready to get after it this weekend. We cannot wait to see this come to fruition.
So I do want to talk to you a little bit about the transfer that's happening in July. We've talked about it on our show when it happened. I kind of foresaw that eventually happening, the salary cap. I love that you use that terminology because I haven't really heard that besides myself use, which it is. But again, they weren't really labeling it that way. So how does a Florida Victorious, once the July happens, what's going to be the play for you guys with that being incorporated?
There's still a ton up in the air on exactly how it's going to be implemented.
Okay.
And so it's anybody's guess exactly what that's going to look like. And so we think that between now and the end of the year, we'll end up getting a heck of a lot more clarity, and we'll be ready to pounce as soon as we know exactly what it's going to look like. For right now, it's anybody's guess. And so what we're pushing really hard for is driving our current memberships, our sponsorships, so that we are able to compete with the best of them over the next 9 months. And as soon as we have a really clear picture of what rev share is going to look like, we'll make sure that we're competitive. One thing we've done since the beginning is we've built a flexible team. We all know that this game changes every couple months. And so this is just another one of those, and we're going to roll with the punches, and we're not just going to accept it. We're going to go and we're going to make it the best that it can be.
So Florida Victorious will always have a special place in my heart. When this show kind of really started to take off, Florida Victorious was the collective era was really starting to take off. So being able to hang out with the players and chit chat and have them on the show has always been incredible. And again, the events, that's always been the biggest thing for me, is being able to go to these events, meet the players. And I say it all the time, and I think the reason why I'm so emotional even today and fired up, because you feel so much closer to the team more than ever. Yeah. Because of events like this, where we get to go meet the basketball players, again, getting to meet the baseball, basketball, it feels different when you're watching them.
Amen, man. When you get to know these players, your high is a heck of a lot higher, and your low is not nearly as low, because you know that Justice Boone is working his tail off. You know him as a person.
Boone time.
You're like, man, I'm gonna root for this kid. I'm gonna run through a wall for this kid. I'm not say he has a crappy play. Well, you know what? He's still Justice Boone. I know that guy. It's not like I'm going to scream and yell as hard as I used to at the TV. You know what I mean? It changes your viewing experience when you know the person inside the helmet, and that's been a huge benefit for us.
Joe Blackburn says, Nate Barbera's the GOAT. Bro, love seeing you on here, man. We've got 500 plus strong in here, boys. The show is fired up. And I told you, Nate, this was going to be a hot one. We're going to be spicy and razzle dazzle. It's kickoff week, man. So we appreciate you coming on here.
It ought to be.
What's that?
So hell yeah, it's the way it ought to be.
yeah, absolutely. And you'll be there Friday, right? So we can get a photo together.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right, absolutely. I'll be there Friday. I'll be at our tailgate on Saturday for Florida Victorious members. Come over to the tailgate. We'll be rocking and rolling. We've got a weekend slate of stuff going on.
Tailgate tent will also be where it normally is, I'm imagining, on the walk.
That's new. We had like a 10 by 10 square on the Gator Walk. It was really tight. This year we have a 20 by 40 space to the east of the Gator Walk. So it's on the north lawn east of the Gator Walk, on that row of tents that's parallel to University. We're I think the third tent in on the right off the Gator Walk, but It's a big space now. So it's going to be plenty of space, plenty of drinks, plenty of food. Members only. Come into the tailgate. We'll have a bunch of players dropping by from other sports, bunch of special guests. We'll leave it up to everybody's imagination to see who they'll be. But we're really pumped about the tailgate as well.
And there'll be players there as well from other sports, like normal. I mean, those things are humping usually.
Yeah, from other sports. Yep. Obviously not the football.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to the.
Come on, Nate.
I I went to the Florida. The last one I think was at the Swamp, and I met Jack Caglione and some of the other guys there. So it's like when we say that there's going to be big names there and good and names that I mean it's worth it to go to one of those tailgates. It really is.
That's it, man. I mean, the basketball team coming this year. Look, we kept Walter Clayton, all SEC.
Huge.
You know, we were able to bring in some really great transfers. We've got we got the tallest teenager on the planet on our team. I'm not sure if he's, but an awesome guy. I had the opportunity to meet him, yeah, we've got some real players on our men's basketball team, on our women's basketball team. I mean, up and down. We got a couple of the top recruits in the country in women's basketball this year. So we're excited to introduce a lot of our awesome student athletes to Florida Victorious members over the next couple of days.
The basketball team did really well with the portal work, with recruiting as well. I'm pumped to see football, obviously, but I'm really excited to see basketball. I think we had a good year last year. I want to see how that carries over into next year. But Nate, before we let you go, I got to get a score prediction for tomorrow's game. And who's going to be Nate's difference maker tomorrow?
30-17 Gators, baby. And Trey Wilson's my man.
Get the ball to three is what we like to say around here. 30 or
Amen,
30-17?
30-17. 30-17.
They cover the two then. They cover the 3 points, is what you're telling me.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Nate, tell them where they can give. I imagine you want them to follow Florida Victorious rather than yourself. Tell them where they can give a follow. Also, how they can sign up, and when they do sign up, to use the code HIGHTOP to get a percentage off that first month of sign up.
Yeah, man, you get your first month. If you go to floridavictorious.com and enter HIGHTOP, you save 20% off your first month's membership. It's a big deal. Look, we are successful when Gator Nation pulls together and helps out. Like the 96 Club, there's no better way to support. We're going to be announcing our 96 Club annual event this fall. Will be at the Ole Miss game. We're going to have the head ball coach there. So all 96 Club members will get to hang out with the head ball coach again. So it was an awesome experience last year. That's the level. That's the difference maker. It's a cell phone bill a month. If you can do it, it's a huge support for the Gators.
That's incredible. Get to go hang out with Coach Spur for the Ole Miss game. That's going to be a blast. That's not towards the end of the year. I think it's the second to last or third to last game right before FSU. So
last home game.
Last home game. Okay, there you go. So incredible event. I mean, that's all. And I know they had a sick polo too. That's definitely I love that that class again with 96 really kind of play into that. So Nate, man, pleasure as always. Thank you and to the Florida Victorious for always being a huge partner of ours. And thank you for hopping on and chit chatting with us on a big night for game week.
Of course, man. Thank you guys. Pumped to get up to Gainesville. Pumped to see this go. And man, it's going to be a great Saturday.
Yes, sir. Go Gators, man.
All
See
right,
you down
guys.
there,
Take
Nate.
care. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Boys and girls, Nate Barbera with Florida Victorious. Go give them a check them out. You again use the code HIGHTOP when you sign up to get 20% off. We're not done. We're just getting started. There's almost 700 strong in here earlier. We were rocking and rolling, boys. So smash the like button and subscribe. But let's hop on into recruiting. The reason why I bring up recruiting, we got Keith Nabier from On3 joining us to talk about the massive visitors that will be coming this weekend for the Miami game. And we've been talking about how important it's going to be for Florida to perform on the football field. And now it's teed up for the perfect weekend. I know you guys are chomping at the bit to talk about the depth chart. We're going to talk about the depth chart. Don't yell at me, okay? I know you want to talk about Miami versus Florida. We've got Locked On Canesbury coming on here. But I got to warm you up. I can't give you all the juice day one. And so, again, this show is brought to you by BetUS as well. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to say there's a lot of Miami fans already talking shit in here. So, hey, it works. I saw somebody call me soft and all that. They probably watched the Mark Rogers show. And guess what? I'm impervious to shit talk. I have calm confidence. I can't say it. You know, I already know Florida's going to win, so it doesn't even matter. But go ahead.
I love it. Let's go through the super chats before I bring Keith on. $5 from Mike Honcho says, Uga owns Florida and Dave is soft. There that is. Tony 2X Freeman, $5. Gators by $1 million, Tony. Let's go, baby. Keena Johnson, $5 is fired up. This is the last Wednesday without Gators football. Go Gators, beat Miami. Gators by $1 million. Got goosebumps when I just thought about that.
So they paid for the super chat to tell me that? Well,
Yeah.
guess what? You just gave us money, and guess what? Your mom.
Your
saw it.
mama, between the hedges, $10 says, Gator fans, please give money to the Gator Collective. It is getting old, kicking Gator asses every year. Come on, please beat the U. I love it, between the hedges. And then famous $2 says, smash the like button, go Gators, and wear white, boys and girls. Let's get into recruiting talk. Come on. I don't have a graphic here, but we're going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Keith Nabey here. Keith, talk dirty to me, boss. I'm ready for all the juice.
Oh, wait a sec. I'm the damn warm-up act. I'm not. That's it. That's all I am. I'm Paula Poundstone opening for Eddie Murphy here. Really?
I trying to find a good spot for you, man. I thought this was going to be good.
No, it's all right. Hey, we got a
yeah.
huge weekend.
Hold on.
A huge weekend at the Swamp. Where'd I go?
Let me bring you back here. There we go, big guy.
Yeah, here we go. Huge weekend at the Swamp. We've been previewing it all week. I got to plug my site, obviously, GatorsOnline.com. We got 50% off an annual subscription right now. I didn't get these 3 Lamborghinis out in the parking lot by giving away subscriptions. You know what I mean? 50% off. But no, huge weekend. And, it's probably one of the bigger recruiting weekends that people have seen at the Swamp in some time. And, look, the ball's in Florida's court now. They got to go out and do something. And this is your opportunity, though. It's a great measuring stick game against a school you recruit against for probably 12 to 15 guys each class. So there's a lot on the table here.
Talk about the biggest names. I know we got Dallas Wilson, 5-star wide receiver. DJ Pickett, I believe, is supposed to be there. Some linemen that you've been hyping up that, look, you like Florida, but Florida's got to prove it.
Yeah, sometimes I can't remember all the names and I don't want to be looking at my phone the whole time. But so I'll go position by position. Believe it or not, at quarterback, there's a guy that nobody's talking about. He's a 3-star guy. He's committed to Old Dominion. But if you're Florida, you've got to basically cover all your bases. So Ryan Huff, the quarterback's coming in, and he's playing well. And Florida's looking for a developmental quarterback in this class. This is 3rd visit since the summer. Maybe they offer him. But in terms of big name, I just want to throw that out there because,
Sure.
He is a quarterback. Position by position, running back Florida's already set there. Tight end Florida's already set there. But then you start looking at receiver. You mentioned him, Dallas Wilson, 5-star Oregon commit, but he's at Tampa Bay Tech. He's right down the road from Gainesville. Tampa has always been Gator country. That's a city where Florida has really dominated recruiting for years and years and years, really going back 100 years. And so, and I didn't cover those guys, but that's a guy now, he has to see Florida play well. That's it. He loves Oregon. And the only way you're going to convince a guy not to go somewhere is you got to show him something that, you really got to show him something. So he's coming this weekend, and he also probably will come back for an official visit. But Miami's trying to flip him too. So again, the benefit for him is he doesn't just get to see a good game. He gets to watch 2 of the 3 schools that are trying the hardest to flip him from Oregon. I'd say Florida's got a slim chance for him entering the weekend, guys. But if you win, because really I've talked to a lot of recruits, half of them are expecting Miami to win. Those are the guys that you can really impress because they're not thinking Florida's going to win. So you can if you're Florida, you really want these guys to pick against you because then you could open their eyes. Hey, these guys are a lot better than I thought they would be.
Sure.
That's one receiver. On the offensive line, you got a big one, and I go on and on. Tavares Dice, the Auburn commit.
There it is.
He's been to many times. He could play guard. He could play tackle. Auburn's playing somebody like Alabama A&M or somebody like that this first weekend. And so it was a great opportunity to get him to Gainesville. However, that's still Auburn's season opener. He's still committed to Auburn, and yet he's choosing to come down to Gainesville with a Georgia offensive line commit who's his teammate at Langston Hughes High School up in Atlanta, and that's Dontrell Glover. I haven't heard much about his recruitment. Maybe he likes it. We'll see. But that may be one where he's just kind of check out the lay of the land. We'll see. But Tavares Dice, Florida is realistically in this, probably 40-60 chance. But if you win, and maybe Auburn isn't so great, Auburn's got an easier schedule in Florida this year. But, it's a good chance for Florida to show him not only a good product, but, hey, we as a program, we're developing guys. Look at Austin Barber. Look at Najee Harris, the guys on the left side, because this kid can play either position. And look what, as a staff, we've done with those guys. Well, they got to do it first, obviously. You hope they play well. So they're in it with him. On the defensive line, a lot of big names. One of the guys we're really keeping an eye on, though, is a local kid, Jarquez Carter. because he is committed to Ohio State. And
Yes, sir.
he wants to, now he kind of changes his comments here and there, but the bottom line for him is when he watched Florida's D-line play last year, he wasn't that impressed. And he thought they were really just a gap control defense. And in other words, they weren't super aggressive, the style that he thinks he plays. Now,
Stephen Harris said that a lot.
Yeah, between us three guys, let's pretend nobody else is listening. Every recruit thinks that they play the aggressive style, but that's what he wants to be, and that's what he wants to see from Florida. So if the D-line looks good this year, and quite frankly, I think that's the area where Florida may be the most improved this year. Now we'll see; they got to do it, but I think that's the area where they're going to be the most improved. That can get his attention. That can get the attention of some other guys. At linebacker, Ty Jackson, the number 1 linebacker in the country, is going to be there. Guys, I think if signing day was today, I think he signs with Florida. But if Florida goes 5-7, boy, that's going to hurt. He wants to play early. He loves the Gatorade program. By the way, I always make fun of the Gatorade program. Like, who cares about that? You know what I mean? Other than the people at Florida. Well, guess what? This guy and his family care about it. So that tells me Billy Napier knows a little bit more about this stuff than I do. So you got Alabama involved, Georgia, Penn State, FSU. And but right now, Florida, man, this is, he only visited one school that last week of July. There was a dead period for a month, then a dead period for a month after, and there was that 1 week where you could travel to colleges. He only went to one school, and it was Florida. And he's down in Loxahatchee, Florida, Palm Beach County. So they've got a real chance with him. I mean, like a really good chance. So that's a guy you could, again, a guy that wants to see something, wants to see how the season plays out. He probably won't have a decision until later in the year. DJ Pickett, committed to LSU, number 1 cornerback in the country for On3, and I'm going on and on here. But Corey Raymond, former Florida coach,
Sure,
got him at LSU. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think Florida fans were thrilled with the recruiting here, and then he gets DJ Pickett. But so he's solid LSU, but he has always said in multiple interviews, if Florida wins games this year, that's what's missing. If they win games, I'm going to give them a good look. So this is, I don't know that this one game is going to convince people to go to Florida.
Sure,
but it can be an eye opener. It can lay the groundwork for more visits. The great thing about this schedule, which is murder, obviously, but the great thing is you've got 6-7 home games where you really can get kids to those games. They want to come.
It's the best recruiting tool in the world. I mean, you're going to have look, as a fan, I'm pumped for the games. How could you not be excited to go to every single game? And I think that if, when Florida gets on that roll, this stadium is been thriving to be fired up. And I think Saturday is going to be a whole another level, which, look, I do want to ask you, because when we had you on earlier, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we talked about where Florida was in recruiting. They've landed 2 or 3 since we last had you on the show, which has amped them up a little bit in the recruiting class. And look, we said they're probably not going to be very high going into the season. They're at a healthier spot than when we spoke originally. And with the list that we have, let's just say we land 70% of this list if things go properly. This class all of a sudden becomes a legitimate threat for a top 5 class. Am I wrong there? Or yes.
Top 5 is going to be hard. Okay, so
come on, Keith, give me the juice. I told people you're going to say we're going to land number 1 class.
Why do I got to be the guy to give all the bad news? Okay. No, here's why. So the way we do it at On3, we don't have a class calculator like at my old company 24/7, which, by the way, all of us at On3 help build 24/7. But you can figure it out, and here's how. So at the end of the last cycle, if you took the top 18 guys that you signed, the highest 18th ranked guys you signed, you added up their numbers, and then you divided it by 18, you got a score. And that score might be like a 91.6. And that would tell you, that's how you determine the rankings. If the average rating of your 18 top commits was 94, you probably had the number 2 class in the country. Well, I did some math today, and even if Florida flips DJ Pickett, even if Florida flips Solomon Thomas of FSU, the 5-star offensive line, best case scenario, they're going to squeak into the top 10. Best case scenario. And that's okay. That's okay. They just were a little bit behind everybody else. I mean, look, it was a perfect storm this offseason. Little cloud of uncertainty hanging over the staff. You have every once in a while you get this Rashada news floating out there. You had ETN transfer out. People wondering if Billy's going to be here. So they were fighting an uphill battle. And to their credit, this class was ranked 56th in the country the first week of July. 56th. It's up to 19th. But remember now, it'd be one thing if just Florida was adding commits, right? Then they'd shoot up. But everybody else is adding them too. I mean, I know it's simplistic.
I get no, that makes more sense. I just think we're gonna get everybody. That's the mindset that I have. But once we flip Thomas, DJ Pickett, we land Ty Jackson, we flip Dallas Wilson, then that's what I'm looking at. You know, I'm counting up who the guaranteed locks are. Tavares Dice, right? Well, there we go. That puts us.
I was looking at LSU's class last year, and I think they finished 6th or 7th, just to get a perspective here. And I think they had 1 or 2 5-stars and 17, 18 4-stars. So every one of the guys that you were factoring into their score was a 4-star or above. It's really competitive at the top. But now, not every class, like LSU may be 6th, Florida may be 7th, let's say. But maybe Florida's difference makers are DJ Lagway, and their difference maker is, let's say, a 5-star linebacker. Well, a 5-star quarterback, if he pans out, is going to have more impact on your program. I always go back to Clemson. We knew that Clemson, I hate to brag here, but Clemson, remember before they started winning big, the problem was always offensive and defensive line, right? They just didn't have the offensive line to compete against the Alabamas and Georgias of the world. So we knew when they started getting better there, they had all the skill guys and all that. But what really put them to the next level was getting Deshaun Watson in that one class. It wasn't a top 5 class. They got great pieces around him, but he elevated the program. So it's great that we love rankings, and we should get caught up in them because they do mean a lot. But sometimes the 13th ranked class ends up being better than the 7th ranked class because you might have one guy that just elevates your program. So Florida finished 10th last year. What if did I call him DJ Pickett? What if DJ Lagway ends up being the real deal? Now, we don't know. We don't know. We'd like
LJ McCray, too. Those are 2 guys like you've talked about, difference makers in the class that, again, the overall value of the class sits here, but those 2 guys elevate it on the football field to a level that you can't even comprehend.
Well, hey, look, you guys were babies, I'm sure, but we all knew Percy Harvin was a good recruit. Did we know he was that good?
I did.
I mean, that guy's like a top 10 all-time Florida player. So sometimes guys just I'll tell you who wasn't a big recruit, the guy that's going to be Mr. Two-Bits this year for the Miami game, Javon Curse.
Curse, yeah.
I think he was just an okay name. I mean, a big name, but not like a huge name. Not like now recruiting was different in the era, but we knew who those people were. You knew when Florida signed Emmitt Smith, everybody knew who he was, and that was the late 80s. So recruiting was still significant, was still big, still popular then, but that's a guy that elevated the program like a Javon Curse. So there always are guys out there. And quite frankly, you have to trust also Florida's evaluation skills, which seemingly have been pretty good, quite frankly. Gregory Smith you guys are going to talk about the depth chart. Isn't he kind of prominent in the depth chart? A year ago, we didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I can't say his last name at the moment, but that Joseph, I think it's like Match, whatever. He's getting all sorts of offers right now.
Georgia too.
Yeah, and by the way, I need to point that out there. Joseph Mbachu, 3-star defensive line commit for Florida, committed. He visited Florida on July 27th. They offered him that day. He committed the next, Tuesday or Wednesday. And Florida knew that he was going to take off. He just put on pads for the first time this spring in his life. Okay. But I've seen different measurements. He's somewhere between 6'4.5" to 6'6", but 280 to 290 in that range. So he looks pretty, as they say. Looks good on the hoof. But he had never played, so it was only a matter of time. Florida watched him in the spring and got all the spring film, did their evaluations, brought him down to Gainesville, passed even more eye tests, passed the personality test, the character test, because that matters too, by the way. And now he's playing, and he's not even starting, but he's doing this. He's on an upward. I mean, it's every game the guy plays. He just played his first game ever in his life 2 weeks ago. Last week was his second game, and they go over to Alabama and beat the best team in Alabama. So, he's on an upward path. But now, South Carolina offered, then Auburn,
now
then Georgia.
Yeah.
Alabama today.
Compliments to Billy and the staff, though. So we're all good.
Now they got hold. He will be there Saturday. This is going to sound strange, and I used to cover Auburn, so people are probably like, "Oh, whatever." He's just shoving Auburn stuff down the Gator throat. But there are some connections to Auburn at his high school that I think is a team to watch. But he is going to be back in Gainesville this weekend, and they're going to the guy may end up being a 4-star in another month or two.
What's your thoughts and projections before we let you go, Keith? I also tell them where they can give you a follow, and I want you to plug the promo that's going on for you guys right now. But tell me what's your thoughts and then score prediction on this week's game.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's going to be a typical first game, ugly, because I just talked to Kevin Carter, who this time you're going to find out how old I am. We were buddies back in college. We've always kept in touch, and it's funny, when he played for the Rams, I went and saw him play in Atlanta and hung out in the locker room. He was, just fantastic guy. But he went and watched the Gators practice, and he gave me all this great stuff on the team. But then he said at the end, he goes, "But Keith, they don't practice like they used to practice. They don't hit as much. They're doing things differently." He goes, "It's harder to figure out what you really have until you see him play." It was always hard to know what you had until you saw him play. Now he says it's even harder. So ugly first game, because that's just the way it is. You're a different team in week 6 than you are in week 1.
Sure.
Dan Mullen watched Felipe Franks for 2 years and thought he was better than Kyle Trask in practice, right? So you don't, and games. So you never really know. You're going to be a different team. But so because of that, Florida's got a lot of returning players. Florida's got a returning starting quarterback. Florida's got 3 or so returning offensive linemen. I think the defensive line is going to be not just improved, but legitimately good if they can get some pressure on the quarterback. I think the secondary is going to be better at one thing in particular: tackling. I don't know that there's going to be these 5-yard plays that become 30 yards as much. I think the thing that Florida has to do, they're going to get pressure on that quarterback. And if they get pressure on him, the DBs are going to have to stick with the receivers a little bit longer. The guy can scramble, right? How many games have y'all been to Florida Field historically where guys scramble back there and then threw a 60-yard touchdown pass? And so it tends to happen. So they got to be on their P's and Q's there. To me, the great difference maker in this game is, everybody listening, it's the swamp. And I like Florida in a 24-23 kind of game.
Okay.
To go either way.
I love that you just gave us your prediction. We've got our Miami guy just tuned in, so I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about that. We bring him on. Perfect timing.
Yeah, and look, Miami's got a very good roster. I actually think Miami's going to be a really good team.
No, Keith, don't hype him up now. He heard what you had to say.
I think Miami's going to be a really good team week 5, week 6. They've got a lot of new players. We've been told our whole lives how important chemistry is, right? Well, now they say, well, you just go and grab guys in the portal. Well, so all of a sudden chemistry doesn't mean anything anymore. I think it still does. I think it still does in week 1. Week 2, not as much. 3, probably not at all. But week 1, maybe.
Love it. Keith, 900 strong. Tell them where they can follow you. Go Gators. And we appreciate you as always, man, for hopping in.
Just go. I appreciate everybody. And thanks for having me on. Go to GatorsOnline.com. 50% off our annual subscription right now. And listen, guys, you guys do a lot for me. So thanks for bringing me on. And by the way, my first Miami game ever, 1982, as a small kid, James Jones falling back. Let me get in here. I'm trying to get in here. One-handed touchdown catch, falls into the end zone, and Florida beats Jim Kelly in Miami 17-14. That's the first game I ever remember going to.
I love it. Keith, blast as always, man. Ton of knowledge. We're pumped for this Saturday, man. Thank you. Go Gators, Bubba.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
Go Gators.
Yeah, man. Boys and girls, the show's just getting started, like we said. We've got Locked On Canes with us to talk all things Florida versus Miami. Then, of course, we got to dive into I told you the show was going to be jam-packed. There was just 900 people in here.
Of course.
Bro, we're going for 1,000 boys tonight. I told you, keep pumping the like button, keep pumping the comment sections. Let's get ready to talk about Miami with Alex.
I mean, people are like paying us to insult us. It's great.
Before I bring on thank you for reminding me. There's a couple of super chats. I don't want to forget those. You guys are incredible for the donos. So let me read them off. We got Alopack, $10, says, woo, been waiting for this. We're going to make a name for ourselves. Gators all the way. Let's humble those overhyped Canes, thinking they can take us into our home. Go Gators by a damn million. I love these super chats right before we bring Alex on. The David Wilson says, $5. I can't remember a UF game with so much at stake. If we lose and Billy Napier gets fired and we start another rebuild, we win, and this could be special. And then $20 from Army Sniper says Gator Nation jumping on tonight. Almost 300 likes, almost 900 strong. Let's get it. All righty, boys and girls. Let me go ahead and get Alex in here. Alex, first time talking. Pleasure meeting you, man.
What's up, Alex?
Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, pleasure meeting you. And I heard Keith saying so many nice things about Miami. You guys don't even need me. Let him hype up the Hurricanes. And listen, after Miami wins this game, I hope we all can still be friends after that.
Oh, I love it. Alex coming in hot and spicy. This is going to be sweet, man.
We'll be friends after Miami loses, I promise.
Alex, pleasure to meet you, man. Look, I want to obviously talk all about Miami versus Florida. Get your insight. I know I've been arguing with Miami fans all week, and I feel like I haven't learned anything. So I was like, let me bring the expert in. Let me see what's really going on back there. I know you guys have a very talented football team. We've looked about it. We looked it up. We've talked about it. I think on paper, these two teams are very similar. Some people disagree. Some agree. It is what it is. Let's get your thoughts, your take. I mean, Miami insider, and then give me your difference maker. Who's going to be the guy that really changes a game for Miami? There's so many different makers on this team, whether it's Ruben Bain we're hearing about, whether it's Cameron Ward, right? There's so many different names I feel like you guys can pick. Who's your guy, though?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with my guy. It'd be way too obvious for me to say Cam Ward. I'm not going to come in here and give you guys low-hanging fruit content like that. I expect a couple of difference makers potentially in the tight end room. And as you guys are probably aware, Miami's tight ends were virtually a non-factor in the passing game last year. I mean, it was unlike anything I'd ever seen. The entire room last season combined for 18 catches and 1 touchdown, which is not up to Miami's standard. This is a place that used to be referred to as tight end U. It was not tight end U last year. I'm expecting a bounce back from that room. You know, somebody who was completely absent from it a year ago was Elijah Arroyo, who was basically injured for the entirety of the past 2 seasons. He's finally fully recovered from what was a really nagging ACL that he tore 2 years ago and had a setback for that last year. And Arroyo, who's going to be wearing the number 8 from Miami, I expect him to be the starting tight end. I say expect because Mario Cristobal doesn't really do depth charts until like an hour and a half before the game. So if we go by expectations, I think Elijah Arroyo is going to be the starter there. He's looked like his old self from a couple of years ago in fall camp, which is very encouraging. Miami also has, and I'm always hesitant to pump up true freshmen too much before a difficult first game of the season like this, but I think Miami has something with Elijah Lofton, true freshman out of Bishop Gorman. This is someone who has been lining up at multiple different positions in practice. He can play tight end, H-back. He can play running back. He can line up out wide. And I think Lofton is someone, we'll see how much of a factor he plays week 1. That's more of a difficult thing to predict. But I think throughout the season, maybe as soon as Saturday, he's going to be someone who lines up all over the place and tries to make a difference. And then, defensively, I think both of these fan bases, Miami and Florida, are pretty hyped up and optimistic about the defensive lines. And that's certainly the case with Miami fans because they've added a ton of weapons to the D line. And it's not just Tyler Barron, who I know Florida feels pretty confident going up against because they've kept him in check in the past, but adding Elijah Alston, adding Simeon Barrow to the interior of the defensive line, kind of wondering what Ruben Bain is going to evolve into in his second year after having really a breakout true freshman season last year, co-leader on the team in sacks. And yeah, I think Mario Cristobal really feels like he can go 2 or even 3 deep with the edge rusher rotation, which gives you the opportunity to get a lot of fresh legs on the field and, try to put as much pressure as possible on Graham Mertz. So I think those are some of the areas that could be X factors in a good way. An X factor that kind of goes the opposite way that's more of a question mark, I've got to say this, is Miami's defensive backfield, because there's just certain players who are going to be stepping into starting roles and rotational roles that we just don't have a lot of snaps for. Most experienced guys in the defensive backfield are Daryl Porter, who's a senior at cornerback who had a good year last year. Mish Powell, a safety who transferred in from Washington, started every game on the national runners-up last year. Outside of that, you're going to be giving extended playing time to guys like Damari Brown in his second year, who played a little bit last year, but not a whole lot of experience. Jadis Richard, who transferred in from Vanderbilt last season, hasn't played a whole lot. Guys like Markeith Williams and Jaden Harris at safety. So there's some sort of untested depth in Miami's defensive backfield, and that's kind of the area where you wonder it could be an X factor either way. Either they struggle in their first game, or you find out, hey, these guys that were all highly touted coming out of high school can actually play. But for some of them, we're not going to know till Saturday.
Look, great breakdown. I've got a lot of information there that I kind of want to unpack. I loved, your take on this. But with Cam Ward coming into it, what have you been hearing out of camp? Obviously, Florida fans, we've been emphasizing the turnover machine in Cam Ward that he's had in his past. But again, also he's thrown for over 400,000 yards the last 2 years, throwing the ball 60 times. My analysis of it, again, I don't think Miami will throw the ball that much, but you don't have to. I think the running back room is exceptional at Miami, along with the trenches. What's your thought and your take on that? How will they handle, again, the amount of that he was throwing and transitioning to not throwing as much?
Yeah, and that's a great point on your part, because he's not going to have to play, at least, we don't think he's going to have to play as much hero ball as he was forced to play at Washington State. Didn't have a whole lot of weapons, didn't have the type of running back depth he has at Miami. Also didn't have much of an offensive line at Wazoo. I think they were bottom 4th in the nation in pass protection last year. So, one thing, like you bring up the turnovers, and obviously that's been a thing. He had 14 fumbles last season. Like he did keep the interceptions at least in single digits, which, after Miami experiencing Tyler Van Dyke last year with his Baker's dozen interceptions, you'll take a guy who throws under 10 at this point. So I know ball security has been a big emphasis for Ward. The fumbling, I think, has been more of an issue for him than the interception. So it's kind of twofold. I know he's really been working on his ball security technique. That was something that offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson talked about early in fall camp, that's really been an emphasis. And I think, like, part of it, you got to hope that a bit of it gets corrected just by having better pass pro, that he's not going to be having to run for his life and improvise as much this year behind Miami's offensive line. But as far as, what Cam Ward has meant to Miami since he's arrived in January, of course, all of this is on paper. We'll see what happens when the games start live this Saturday. But I've been really impressed with his professionalism. I think is the first thing that jumps off the page. And because something at the time when he decided to go to Miami, I've gotten to know Ward a little bit since then, but I didn't know really anything about him outside of watching him play a little bit, watching his tape, because based on the way the whole saga played out, is he going to go to the NFL draft? Is he not? Is he going to Florida State? Is he going to Miami? I didn't really know what type of a dude he was. I thought, is this guy look a little Hollywood? Like, is he a little bit of a diva? He hasn't been that one bit. He had to make a serious life decision, ultimately deciding the NFL was not the time for him to do that. But he's been nothing but a professional at Miami. I don't think, obviously he lives in a city where there's, a lot of stuff going on and a lot of temptations, but I don't think the guy's been out to a single bar or nightclub since he's been in South Florida. Like, he's just someone, he wants to win, and he obviously wants to improve his draft stock. And, he built chemistry with his teammates very quickly. Some of the stories that teammates of his were telling me was they were all impressed, from walk-ons all the way up to starters, that he learned everybody's names within 24 hours. He's done tons of off-schedule workouts with his receivers, and he's fun to watch in practice, because something I don't covering quarterbacks for many years. Quarterbacks are not usually the biggest trash talkers on teams, but Ward gets in your face. He makes a play in practice. He's jawing with the defense, and they're jawing back at him. So it's been fun to watch him, and this has all been practice stuff. So I think there's a lot of anticipation to actually see what he looks like when the Bullets are live starting this Saturday.
Love it. Dave, what do you got for Alex in Miami?
Yeah, we talk about the offensive line, obviously, from Miami, defensive line from Miami, and then obviously on our side of the football too. And I even said on a show, we were talking about, like, offensive line. Most Florida fans are worried about that, but I said more of, like, it's the defensive line getting pressure. You've got all these running backs at Miami right now, and you added Martinez, and you basically have two running backs that you can utilize plus Cam Ward, and you got that big offensive line. What do you think that matchup will look like between Florida's defensive line, Miami's offensive line? I mean, Florida returns pretty much a lot of guys on the defensive line. 2023, they did really good at recruiting on defensive line. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be an even kill matchup? Do you think Miami has a little bit of a slight advantage? Do you think Florida has a slight advantage? What's your take? Because I know Keith, he talked about it beforehand before he got on the show. I just want to get like maybe your opinion on that.
Yeah, I'll defer to what Mario Cristobal said this week, where he expects it to be a muddy and bloody battle in the trenches. Yeah, I feel pretty confident about what Miami has on their O line. I'd like to give Miami a slight edge. I'm sure most of the people in your chat would disagree with that. It is a little bit different from the offensive line that Miami had last year. Of course, they did lose Javion Cohen, their starting left guard from last year, and Matt Lee, their starting center, who seems to be doing pretty well with the Cincinnati Bengals right now. And, they replaced Matt Lee with another grizzled veteran, Zach Carpenter from Indiana, who seems to be doing a good job at the center position. Again, I'll defer back to how, Miami does not do depth charts until like 90 minutes before the game. So we're not 100% sure who the new starting left guard is going to be. I have my suspicions on who the starting left guard is going to be. I don't think they're too worried about it. My offensive line coach Alex Mirabal said he's pretty confident that they have at least 8 guys who are playable. So there's going to be some rotation on the O-line. They feel confident about the offensive tackles. Jalen Rivers is a grizzled veteran. He's been around forever, starting at left tackle. The right tackle is young, but he got a full year of starts as a true freshman last year. CC Maui Noah, they feel pretty good about his development. And I think something that Miami's going to hope to be a difference in this game for the positive, and you brought it up, Dave, was just the size and power of their running backs. Like Mario Cristobal loves, obviously you have weapons in the passing game, but he loves the smash mouth stuff. And he's hoping that a rotation with Damian Martinez and Mark Fletcher, who seems to be 100% healthy now. He recovered pretty quickly from his foot injury in the bowl game. They're both over 6 foot and over 225 pounds. Fletcher's about 225. Martinez is around 235. So they're thinking they got a couple of battering rams back there. So I know that the hope would be, again, we'll see how this plays out on Saturday, but the hope would be, I think, that you try to wear down the Gators defense a little bit with the power running game. But I think they feel pretty good about what they have up front on both sides.
Did you get a chance? Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say that's kind of like the key that would probably put Miami over on Florida, is if they can effectively run the football this game. So I'm really curious to see, how Florida stops the run game, or if the run game just takes off on Florida. Because I think that's what's really going to be the ultimate key to this game, because I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence in Cam Ward throwing the football. I mean, I do, but he turns it over a lot and he fumbles it a lot. But if you can get the run game going, I think Miami can eventually get to that spot.
The depth chart was released just a moments before the show for Florida. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet, but it just said Gators by 1 million on it, Alex. I don't know if you saw that, but it's going to be.
I missed that part.
Yeah. It was right at the bottom in fine script. Look, I've been arguing, like I said, I've been arguing all week. I've got Mertz over Ward as my edge rusher. Obviously, we all know where we're headed. We'll do our picks, but I do want to get your picks, your score prediction as well, because I think that's important. I think obviously I know you're going to go with Miami. You kind of been telling us at the edge and where you think they're going to separate themselves. But how do you think the score plays out, and do you think the stadium is going to have a bigger impact? Obviously, Florida, we've been hyping that up, the loudness and how Miami doesn't play in a real stadium and all those things. How do you think Miami reacts to that and handles that pressure?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't know until you know. And I will tell you that Miami's been doing everything they can possibly do to prepare for that, while understanding it's different once you actually step into it. They're doing everything they can in practice. They've got the speakers blaring. They're just trying to make things as hostile and as complicated as possible just to get plays off. And so Jalen Rivers, Miami's starting left tackle, said earlier this week that they just have to have a laser focus in there. And listen, they're going to try to. I mean, certain players have played in very hostile environments. Like, anyone who's on Miami 2 years ago, played on the road at College Station with over 100,000 fans at Texas A&M. You know, Jalen Rivers, who's been on the team for a long time, you know, mentioned going up against Alabama in a Mercedes-Benz stadium in Atlanta full of Bama fans 4 or 5 years ago when he was a freshman on the team. But again, like I respect that building. Like there's no substitute for actually getting in there. And I think it's one of those things where anytime you're in a hostile environment like that, the worst thing that can happen is you go down 2 scores early because that crowd is only going to feed off of that. So, you know, obviously it would play very much into Miami's favor, I think, to score first and play efficient football. You know, the stuff that you obviously worry about in an environment like that are false start penalties. I think that's where the late the laser focus would come into it. But I respect it, and I know Miami's coaches have been sending that message all week long that that you know they're stepping into a hostile territory. You know, I think you know Florida only distributed like 4,000 tickets to Miami, and obviously the building's going to be like 98% Gator fans. We know that. And so it does impact my prediction. Like I am going to give Miami the edge in the game because I do think Miami has slightly more talent, but I don't think like some Miami fans like, oh, it's a blowout, it's not going to be close. Ridiculous. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think there's going to be any separation until the fourth quarter in either direction. So I'm going for, just as a rule of thumb for me, and also as a very unsuccessful gambler, but this is still one of those rules that I follow, is first game of the season against, you know, two power 4 teams, first game of the year, in-state rivalry. I think this game's going to go like under. I think it's 54.5. I'm expecting a lower scoring game. You know, if they were playing, you know, week 8, I may predict a higher scoring game, but I think there's going to be some little sloppiness on both sides just with how long the offseason is. So I'm going for, you know, maybe I'll say like a 27-24 Miami. I think I'm going to be on the edge of my seat the entire time.
I love it. I love it. I think it's look, I think it's I agree. I love that you said it is closer to what people think, and that's kind of what I've been stating. Of course, my fanism is going to come out and say, look, I think Florida pulls the edge off here. I think, you know, it's like I said, always Florida by a million. I think the stadium's going to be a huge factor. I think Cam Ward gets a little rattled, and we only distributed 4,000 tickets because that's as many fans as there were. So
let me say something on that. Miami fans sometimes travel to road games better than they do to home games, which is an embarrassing thing in itself to say. But it's like, but you know, the alumni are so spread out, and people only show like I've been to games where Miami's played like a neutral site in Chicago, where I'm like, wow, there's a lot of Miami fans here in bowl games. So it's a weird, like the Miami fan is unpredictable, and if the team does have a good start this year, Hard Rock Stadium's going to be full. If they don't get off to a good start this year, it's going to be mostly empty. It's just the nature of the beast down in South Florida.
One last question before I let you go. I want you to plug Locked On Canes, though, where they can find you. I mean, I don't know if the Gator fans are going to be tuning in to watch the Miami, but they may be tuning in if once things go the way we think they're going to go on Saturday, just to give you a little flack, which that's the name of the game. I've been getting it all week. I've been stating I believe Crystal Ball's seat will heat up tremendously if they take an L in this game. Right now, obviously, Napier has kind of been the leader for hot seats. But Mario, I don't feel as far off. And this isn't a shot. I think he's done things well, but I don't think Miami's going to wait around too much longer if he comes out flat-footed, especially, again, the media in a way with as much hype, picking them going to the final 12, that carries weight. Whether they should be are on that path or not, that carries a lot of weight. Thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I think it would take more than this game to make his seat warm or hot, because something that, and I'm sure that there's details on this stuff that you guys would understand better than me on the Billy Napier side of it, but on the Mario Cristobal side of it, he's very well liked by the administration, and he's only entering year 3 of a 10-year contract. So you're talking about basically a buyout that would not be attractive unless it's an absolute catastrophe. So when it comes to Cristobal's job status, in no way, shape, or form do I think this Florida game is going to make or break it, good or bad. Like it would have to be one of those things where, like, I mean, if Miami wins this game, they could still go on to lose some games they shouldn't and have a bad season. if Miami loses this game and they go on to do really well in the ACC schedule, then I think he's going to be all right. I think the administration gave him a 10-year contract with the understanding that like they wanted to give him several years to kind of tear it down. And I'm not, now the roster looks really good on paper now, but they wanted to give him kind of ample time to get it moving in the right direction. So honestly, I think this one game is going to have very little to no effect on his job status. It would only be like if the game is really ugly for Miami and then this kind of snowball to like a terrible season. Because, so if you suffer a catastrophic loss, sometimes that can carry over. If it was something like that, maybe. But I think his job security is better than most of the national folks think, because if you look at the fine print on that contract, I think it would have to be really bad for them to cut bait on that.
That's huge. I didn't realize there was so much into it. So, and again, hearing that they kind of went into that deal with the understanding that they would be real building. But do you got something, Dave?
Yeah, like I was gonna say, even if you were to lose game one, that schedule you got is very favorable, and we've already seen Florida State. So if you asked me to pick between who's going to win between Miami and Florida State right now, I'd be picking Miami. So even if you were to drop one, I still believe you guys win pretty much every other game on the schedule. So you probably still make it to that playoff.
Wow, they just got
it's a very favorable looking schedule, no question. I look at it and I predicted 10 wins for Miami, and a lot of that not only is based on Miami's talent, which I think is as good as it's been in many years, but the opportunities you have where and again, like a lot of times Miami will find ways to lose games they shouldn't. I've seen that story many, many times, but at the same time, this looks to me like a schedule where they should be able to manage double-digit wins, regardless of what happens this week.
Alex from Locked On Get Canes, I really appreciate you hopping on here, man. We had to reach out to our man Brandon Olson for making this connection. I know you two kind of go back and forth and have your shows together. This has been a blast, man. Pleasure getting to meet you. I think you're a professional. You do a phenomenal job, phenomenal setup. I really appreciate you hopping on. And it was kind of a little maddening with the times and whatnot, and you made it work. So I really do appreciate you coming on.
Oh, I'm actually glad you brought me on a little early, because I'm an early to bed guy. So I'm usually shut eye by 10:30. So I'm happy when you said like 9:05 hop in. I'm like, giddy up.
Show's moving along, baby.
You know what that's called? That's called getting old, just like me. I turn 40 next month.
Yeah,
so
man. Same here. I turned 40 in September. No way.
There you go.
Hey, I'm hanging out a bunch of old dudes. You guys are killing me.
What day is it?
September 19th.
I'm the 25th. There you go.
No way.
Look at YouTube. Look at YouTube.
I'm a little older than you then.
A little bit.
Boys and girls, 850 strong in here. Smash the like button. Go give Alex some love, or a little bit of less love, whatever you want to do.
And I don't mind, because I've gotten a lot of hate watches this week from Gators fans, and I love it. And like, okay, prior to last Saturday, I was getting a lot of hate watches from Seminoles fans, but they're in hiding now. I respect that. They're not ready to come out yet. So the Gators fans have been coming out. Come in, talk some trash. I love it.
Look, they'll be there more on Saturday. So I appreciate it. Pleasure as always, man. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you.
See you guys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man.
Boys and girls, wow, this show is bumping tonight. 838 strong. Cam Parker will be on in just a moment, and he was at the presser. The presser was not live. This is a special treat. He's going to be giving us inside takes of what was happening. He spoke to some of the players. Give us the vibe, because we weren't there. Boots on the ground is how we love to call Cam. And then we're going to go, we're going to make it to the depth chart, and then we're going to do our pickups. I told you this show was going to be jam-packed. The show has been vibrating all night long. I love you. It was great getting to hear Alex, though. I mean, look, I don't follow Miami like that. I don't care about Miami. So to hear someone like ourselves give their perspective, their take on it, and I feel like he was very respectable. Also, I meant to say this while he was on here. I appreciate him coming on. Coach Hayes, we asked him because we were on his show. We figured we'd come back. He was busy. That's fine. Coach Coop, I'm calling you out, punk ass. I messaged you and tagged you in multiple things on Twitter, and you only responded to what you wanted to. You kept saying that Gator fans are scared. You made a post saying, what Gator fan wants to come on my show? I said, sign me up, Poppy. Then I quote tweeted it and said, you come on my show, I'll go on your show. Crickets. But he responded to every other subtweet. He saw it. He didn't want the smoke. And I stand by it. He pussed out. Facts. Clip it. Tag him. I'm disappointed in you, Coop. I know you rock with the 81 degrees in your room, but you can't handle the heat, big dog. So turn the air down, Bubba. Okay.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to do another one of those like freestyle rap videos while you're messaging him and tagging.
Maybe it was. But I thought about getting with the boys and rapping one myself. We have a shit ton of super chats to go through. You got there's the what's happening right now
Dude,
is just incomparable.
It's the love, man. It's the love. They love us.
It's incredible. Falcon TRX 305. Nice super chat. Miami will win 31-21, and I will be there. Nice dodge, by the way. David Wilson says $2. Miami fans like their own comments. I love it. John Lee says $2. I heard Miami thiefed ends. What is that? Thief ends.
Tight ends.
Tight ends. Okay. All have loose ends. Falcon.
I like the like the picture there.
Yeah. 305. At least Gators loss won't be at Georgia Tech game 1. This is true. It won't be a loss either way, but it won't be the Georgia Tech. He's just throwing cheddar at us. 305. The Rock is much louder and better than the Swamp.
Dude,
I'm embarrassed for you.
We have had
go buy a scratch off ticket.
I was about to say we've had 2 people pay us money to insult us. It's like what's going on?
Well, that wasn't even an insult. That was just
Yeah.
how dumb can I look? You know. Hold on.
I am sitting on Florida home side 40-yard line.
305.
Sorry about that.
Between the Hedges says $10 says breaking news: UF is going to wear Miami home colors Saturday, white and green. Holy Billy ball sack! Yeah, we're wearing all white, boys. We're at 8:30 right now, and we were like 9:40 earlier. The goal for tonight is to hit 1,000, and we're an hour in. It hasn't felt like an hour. Everyone's been great so far. We kicked it off with Nate, then we brought in Keith to give us the recruiting update. Then we gave Alex to give us the take on what's happening. But I'm really excited. I know I'm kind of carrying this on, but this show, look, it's the best day of the week. I'm pumped to look over this depth chart. And I know we're running late into the evening, but vacation started already. And it should for all of you. Okay. I have to go to work in the morning, but mentally wise, I'm already checked out. All right. Let's just be honest. Let's keep it what it is. I've been running around all day long with butterflies in my stomach for what's to come.
They said Coop was on Allie's show. He's picking on a woman. Come on, man. You got to pick on a real man.
He could have came on though. He was on her show. I know when her show was. Her show was at 8:00. He could have doubled up.
Oh yeah. Yep,
he didn't want the smoke. Allie's show was at 8:05. I know this because she told me she was moving her preview shows at 8:00 before our show. So Alex didn't come on until 9:00, 9:05. So
I'm not gonna lie. This whiskey's hitting me here right now. So I'm pumped, man. Let's go.
I was worried about you because we had Keith on, he was kind of rolling, and we had Alex on, he was kind of rolling. I was like, Dave hasn't got much in, and I know he's got a little boozy booze next to him, but he's sipping that thing down. I kept looking at him. I'm like, yo, he's starting to wobble a little bit. The head's starting to bobble. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know what? I'd like to give our guests time to talk. I know you like to talk too. So hey, anytime I can butt in a little bit.
I think. Look, I think it played out into this particular. If all three of us
trust me,
talk.
I was on the Mark Rogers show. I got enough of the Miami shit talk, and they do that all the time anyway, so it doesn't even really bother me. So
I figure. We're waiting on Cam here, and then again, we're gonna dive into the depth chart. And then Chris Dorian said something that I'm so pumped to listen to. He's on 1010XL, and I'm gonna give my thoughts and opinions on his take too, because we've had Chris Dorian on the show. His take, the way that he covers Florida football, is very interesting to me. Obviously, we know how I carry things, Gators by a million at all times, but Chris has got to work on SEC. And so he's talked about this before, working in that environment and how he has to keep it neutral. So when you hear him, what he has to say about Florida football, by golly, it fires me up more than, I already am. So now I saw some of you kind of talk about smelling salts at the beginning of the show. I've been fired up all day. I didn't need smelling salts. I was going to, but I was concerned that if I hit the smelling salts before Nate got on, that I may have just overdone it. And I didn't want to overdo it. You know what I'm saying? So I kept it 100 was the.
What, you take a whiff or
I did not.
What are you doing?
I did not.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I see a little bit of that's not powder on your okay. Yeah.
While we wait for Cam really quick though, let's talk about what's lined up for the week, because again, this is an incredible week. Friday we're gonna be at Alma Mater in Gainesville, Florida, 4:00 doing a show. Come see us 4 to 5. At 6, we're gonna be at the Florida Victorious event. Then Saturday I'll be live from the crib at 9:30. Excuse me, and then at about 10:15, I'm going to head over to Harmonic Woods. I'll show that later on in the show if you don't know where that is, but it's between, what two roads is it? There's no address.
Yeah, if anybody needs the actual exact location, they can contact me. I'm going to post the article I posted during the spring game. It actually, if you scroll down to the bottom to it, it has the exact Google Maps location, but it's on Museum Road right near Lake Alice. You can't miss it. There's a big harmonic wood sign. You'll see a big Gators breakdown sign. Like it's you can't miss it when you're going down Museum Road. So
I didn't send Cam the link. That's why we're waiting for him. I just sent it to him now. I'm like, bro, you joining? He goes, where's the link? I'm like, my bad. Tyler Bohannon, $5. Old fashioned and watching the show. Go Gators beat Miami. I love it. We're
that's it,
also
baby. Hey, that's it, baby. Cheers. Here we go. Cheers.
This will be given away at the end of the show. The signed Danny Warfel ball for everyone that bought a Beat Miami shirt. There's like 85 plus shirts that were bought. We'll be doing that at the end.
So I'm in it. I'm in.
No, I sent you your shirt. You didn't count as a purchase. But by golly, boys, we are humping.
Yeah, look at you, man. You forget your own head if it wasn't attached, man.
Oh, dude, we're rocking and rolling. Cam, we got to get you in here. We got to get you fired up, Cam. Oh boy, look at this guy.
Misspelling
Rocking the sweater.
stuff.
You're rocking the sweater. Cam, talk to me, baby. Give me some juice. So Cam Parker, for those of you that don't know,
got to rock the high top sweater. Best day of the week.
Best day of the week, baby. You were
Miami
at the presser. We didn't get to see the presser, so give us your what happened, what you saw, what you felt. We've been watching Billy for quite some time now. What was the vibe?
He was very tense coming in today. Like, he was very locked in, laser focused, short and to the point. I know everyone kind of jokes about Billy with his press conferences that they can be long and drawn out. He can be kind of boring, maybe doesn't say a whole lot. But today he was very, here's my answer, here's my answer, here's my answer. Like, just short and to the point. His opening statement wasn't very long, which usually that's the longest part of the presser. He really didn't start to kind of show a laid back sense until the very end, and even then, that was when he was talking about how much he loves game day and how excited he is for this just the season starting. So he was very locked in today. It was very tense a little bit. That's game week, big rivalry game coming up. So it was a good twist to see, and I think it kind of shows what's going on in the building right now. That talking season's over. You have a game in 3-4 days. I'm bad at counting, but it's time to go, and you kind of sense that from Billy today.
Any big questions that were asked? We got the Montrell. That was like the biggest tweet that sent the world on fire, but nothing else came out. Was there a reason for that?
No, so it was weird. They did not give out an injury report. Normally at the bottom of the depth chart, there is one. I don't know why that is. I know the SEC is.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, it was weird. I know the SEC is in the middle of changing its rules as far as requiring injury updates. I don't know what exactly that's going to look like, whether it will be they have to have an update by the certain day or they have to be this specific with injuries or anything like that. But as far as it's concerned right now, there's not a rule. So going into a big game like this and it's only week 1, maybe you don't really need to have one. But Montrell was the biggest one. The other big takeaway was Cam Waits getting started at right tackle.
Hey, don't give it. Whoa. We haven't got into the depth chart yet. Don't be giving. That one's fine.
Sorry. But Billy talked about that a little bit too, with the biggest thing for Cam Waits being on the depth chart where he was his availability. He's been healthy. I think he was only in a non-contact jersey, I think the first scrimmage. And after that, he was healthy the rest of the way. I was surprised by it just because he hasn't been working with the ones. He's been working with the 2s and the 3s throughout fall camp, but now he's going to get the chance to go prove himself. And they've got a tough matchup because Miami's front is pretty good. The O-line, they made a lot of changes as we've been talking about throughout the offseason. So this is a big opportunity for Cam Waits to not only prove that he belongs, but that he could be the answer for Florida, because he's been one that everyone's been talking about for the 3 years he's been on campus, but it's all been, when is Cam Waits going to get healthy, because they could use another body back there. Now he's healthy. Now he gets the chance to start. We'll see how it goes. But those are really the two big things that Billy talked about today, was Montrell being available, being listed as the starter, and Cam Waits being the big surprise on the depth chart with where he is.
So I do have some questions about the depth chart. I'm sorry for biting your head off because now we're gonna dip into it just a little bit. I like Cam Waits there. I think because of how much we've heard and how many great things we have heard about him. I think Crenshaw, we know in a way what we should be getting. I think has a ton of experience, and I think he'll be much better than Damian George is. I would believe. Here's my thought process. I think Crenshaw is going to be better than what George was at right tackle, and that means Cam Waits beat that. Right, that's where my head's at on the elevation of that right side of that line. I know people are concerned about Damian George at right guard. I told you I'm dying on this hill that my man's going to hold up over there. I'm not worried about at George at all. And then we also saw that Roger Kearney is backing up center and left guard. He wasn't under the right guard side, which leads me to believe they feel pretty confident, again, on more so what Damian George could do. Caden Jones was over there as well, which we're going to get into that more. But Big Dez over Cam Jackson. Nobody asked about that?
Well, the thing with Big Dez, he was listed as an OR, and on the depth charts, all of the ORs are in numerical order. So I imagine Cam Jackson will get the first snaps, even though Dez Watson is still ahead of him.
Damn. Good thing I asked you, because I was going to tell some shit, Cam.
We were I had to double check that. I was like, really? That was kind of a surprising. Like, oh, it's an OR, it's a numerical order. I expect Cam Jackson's going to get the start, but Dez Watson's going to be in the rotation. Part of that, too, is Jamari Lyons' injury thrust him into a bigger role than he was expected to this year. There'll still be a rotation. Obviously, I imagine that there'll be some flexibility with someone like Caleb Banks or Joey Slackman moving over, but it's going to be Cam Jackson and Dez Watson for the most part. I expect Cam Jackson to get the start. Talking about the O-line just really quick, too, Cam Waits is also listed the third string right guard. So, and Billy kind of talked about that today too, that he's going to play both inside and outside. So you're going to get to see some Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon on Saturday, depending on how Damian George does at right guard. If there are signs of struggle, they could throw Cam Waits in on the inside and put Crenshaw-Dixon at right tackle. There's a lot of flexibility with this offensive line. Rod Kearney too, with being able to be the backup center and backup guard. If Najee Harris has to come out for a little bit, you put him in at left guard. If Jake Slaughter goes down, you have a viable option at center. So there's a lot more flexibility and depth on this line that that the Gators just haven't had. And that's no surprise. We've been talking about it all offseason, but now you finally get to see it with the depth chart. There's a lot of fluidity that could happen on Saturday. The depth chart is what it's going to be on Saturday. That's going to be the first group that sees the field. But you'll get to see some other guys in there too, depending on how it goes.
The Sam position. New. Wasn't there last year.
Which position?
Sam, strong linebacker. That wasn't on the depth chart.
It's a weird position because you don't get to see it too often. It's kind of the third backer out in space. Manny Nunnery kind of held that role last year. I'm surprised that they had George Gums back there too, because he's been getting a lot of praise as a pass rusher. I guess we'll kind of get to see that too, where in certain packages he'll be lined up in the back. So it's interesting. Again, a lot of different ways that Florida could use the linebackers this year. We also found out today that Shamar James is not going to be the one that has the mic in his helmet. He talked about that today.
15? 15?
Yeah, so either Wingo or Pup, it seems like are the options, because Pup was also listed as the starter, but he had the OR on there. Haven't gotten to talk to Pup this cycle of the off season, but that's at least what it seemed like Shamar was alluding to. With he was very clear. He said, "I'm not wearing the helmet, radio. I don't want it." But
interesting.
But he talked about how Ron Roberts is the one who's communicating with the linebackers, and it seems like just by default, Derek Wingo and Pup Howard are going to be the ones with the radio in their helmets. So I'm firing you up on Wednesday.
This is Cam Parker just dropping the effing knowledge, boys. I told you, we're building up, boys. A little foreplay in the beginning, but here we go.
Hey, he's our boots on the ground, man. That's what we call him, the boots on the ground, man.
So you just confirmed.
I love pouring gas on the fire. It's one of my favorite things.
You just confirmed we got Ron Roberts in the booth. Up, eyes in the skies. What you just told me? Is that what you just told me?
Well, I can't confirm or deny where Ron Roberts will be in the press box, but it does seem like he will be the one relaying plays into the group. So do with that information what you will. I will.
What
I will try
about
to.
Cam? Can I ask you about a certain man by the name of Callaway?
Are you good, man? You got a little is it a cat scratch fever going on over there?
We'll have a confirmation on when we see which coach is hauling butt down to the sideline at halftime. So when we're going to get when we as a media are going to get our halftime pizza and halftime drink to talk about and just relax for a little bit, we'll see which Gator coach in a polo is running down to the elevator to get down there. So
Well, we'll see who's not on the sideline pretty quickly too, I would imagine.
Yeah, they got to get down there. So, but
we got Shelton fired up over here.
Bro, I didn't need any of this shit, but I mean, the depth chart sent me through another stratosphere that I didn't think. I'm getting ahead of my schedule here because Cam's bringing in the mustache to just rile me up, and the depth chart riled me up because it showed me that Billy is not afraid to make the change. Seeing Khalil, seeing Badger and Wing and Pup be the kind of the starters. Now the fact he told me the numerical thing could be a little bit, but it's showing that he's trusting the guys that he believes is better. The fact that Cam Waite's coming from the clouds at right tackle, I thought Crenshaw was a lock. I'm okay with, like I said, I'm okay with that. Like, I love the fact that, and this is also too, it tells me is like, look, maybe there was better secrets kept in the offseason, right? That maybe we didn't get everything we thought we would be getting because I think everyone had a feel of what it would be like, but I think there's a few touches in there that are exciting us, that excite me anyways. I mean, it doesn't take, I mean, I'm excited just because the depth chart had the Gator logo on it. That's where I'm at with it. But I mean, you telling me we got Ron Roberts in the booth, Callaway. Yeah. And we've got, it's either going to be Pup wearing the helmet, wearing the I think it's going to be Wingo. That was my prediction early on. But the fact that Pup could possibly be part of that conversation tells me how much he's grasped a hold of the defense to be able to trust him with the comms in his head. So my heart's beating to my chest, Cam.
Shamar didn't say by name who was going to wear it. All he said was that he wasn't going to have.
No, I got you. Yeah.
But based off the assumption, it's going to be one of those two. I imagine it's going to be like the NFL where they'll have a little sticker on the back of the helmet just so that the officials can know who's who. So obviously we'll try to keep an eye on that for at least pregame warmups to see if, because they'll be in their helmets at the very least, if we can get an idea of like, hey, obviously the quarterbacks are going to have it, but which linebacker is going to have that little sticker on the back of the helmet that shows that they're the radio guy. And again, like people who will actually get to watch the TV or watch the game on TV, they'll get a good view of that too. It should just be, in the NFL, it's a little green sticker right on the back of the head. I imagine it's going to be the same. So that'll be
next to the QR code.
Getting with the coaches for the
Cam, I can't thank you enough, man. I know you've been working all damn day writing articles. You were at the presser like literally an hour ago, and I was like, "Hey, can you come on?" He goes, "Absolutely." Like, oh, my goodness, this was a last minute sub, and you were ready to go. Boots on the ground, Cam. An absolute pleasure as always. Tell them where they can give you a follow. I was sitting there like literally refreshing your Twitter page because I thought I was going to get more updates, and nothing. Just left me on red.
I was trying to get that Montrell story up ready. I'm not really good at the quick quotes in the live tweets. It took a lot for me to get that Napier quote about Montrell out. I think I was one of the last ones to get it out.
You were, but I'm not going to hold that against you. I was still waiting there refreshing. Okay. I mean, you're good. Marcinko got it out faster, but Nick's he's on the naughty list. So
yeah.
he's in the doghouse. Yeah. He picked Cam Ward over Mertz. And then he picked us going 7-5. I was like, this guy is dead to me as of for now. So he's got a long way to go, Nick. Nick, you got a long way to go. But Cam, you're our shining bright star. We love you, and we can't thank you enough.
Yeah. Just to answer the follow, you can follow me at Cam Parker 25 on Twitter. Gators Illustrated, the SI affiliate for Florida Gators. I do a lot of the football coverage there. I believe I'll see you boys on Friday. I'll be there before the Florida high school broadcast at Santa Fe High School. But before then, I'll try to make an appearance. And then Saturday, the media parking is right next to a certain tailgate. So we'll see if we could pop in for a little bit too. we'll be very busy Saturday, but
We're getting
we'll have
lit
a
with
lot of.
Cam on Saturdays. What he just told me, boys. A little thunderstruck before he walks into the stadium.
What he said was he's going to be funneling a beer with your boy Swolder, is what he said.
That's hey. Cam, we love you, man. Hey, score prediction and then go Gators, and then we're gonna cut out.
I say 31-27 Florida. We're going to try to have the score predictions out for our entire site on Friday.
Okay.
If anyone's been following the past years when Zach Goodall and Brandon Carroll and myself and Connor Clark and Alex Shepard were all part of the team, we would do site-wide predictions for each game each week. So we're trying to do some of the same a little bit this year with the new guys we have. So hopefully Friday we'll have it up, but say 31-27 Gators.
I love it. Cam, you the man. We'll see you
You the
Friday.
man.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
All right, boys. I gotta piss like a racehorse. I'm gonna try to hold it. We're not done. The show goes on.
Hey, I'm full of vodka right now, man. So I got to pee too.
We're an hour and a half in, 850 strong. I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Look, I know it's a little long, but it's. What do you want me to do? It's the game week, so maybe I overdid it, but I don't care. We're here, and I'll just piss my pants. Look, I may pee in this cup, but you think that's PG? No, I don't know. Let's dive into
it.
Let's dive into the depth chart. We got to look at this damn thing. Let's get it. Boy, here we go with the depth chart. So, real quick, before I go over the depth chart, I'm just kidding. I created this little graphic. I want to show you this graphic that I made here.
Oh, go ahead. Go.
I was really proud of it, right? And I'm more proud of the fact of how wrong it was. So I was trying to predict, right? Is this thing gonna really do this to me right now? I practiced it like 3 times and now it doesn't want to behave.
It's frozen.
Yeah, it show is. Ring finger with a rock is.
Maybe that thing's drinking.
Looks like it doesn't want to work. I had obviously Crenshaw in there, and I Trayon Webb because I didn't think Montrell was going to get the start, nor did I think they were going to tell us. So let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. So I tweeted out. I tweeted out that I was wrong, and the reason why I said I was wrong is I thought Khalil Jackson for sure was going to be starting. Now we just got confirmation that it could be a numerical thing because you see Elijah Badger is starting, but there is an or there. So I'm not gonna say I was wrong just yet because if Khalil Jackson comes trotting on the field, I think I won. I think I was still right. But I still believe that Badger is still going to be effective. I love seeing Aiden Mizell in there as well. Wide receiver room, I don't think there's nothing crazy or any surprise. What's your thoughts on it, Dave?
Yeah, wide receiver room, I was pretty... I would assume it was either between Badger or Khalil Jackson. It looks like Badger got the nod. I'm actually really happy about that. And that... Oh, yeah, you go ahead and pee. And then, obviously, left tackle, you got Austin Barber. Left guard, you got Najee Harris, Jake Slaughter. I mean, pretty much you go down most of the offensive line, you probably know who's going to play. But I was kind of surprised by Cam Waits being over Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. We all heard about how we got him from the transfer portal, 6'7", 322 guy, as you can tell. And suddenly, Cameron Waits gets a nod. Now, of course, he played with Billy Napier over at Louisiana Lafayette. He was hurt. Apparently, Billy Napier has a lot of confidence in the guys that he brought over from Louisiana Lafayette. And if he turns out to be anywhere near Osiris Torrance, I'm okay with him starting at that right tackle spot. And you got tight end Arliss Boardingham. Mama Boardingham is pretty proud of Arliss Boardingham, by the way. And this is David on vodka talking to you. So just bear with me here. And then you got Amir Jackson right behind him, which is actually pretty, like, I could say it's not really surprising, but Tony Livingston's been there for a while, but Amir Jackson is one of those really, I think he's one of those kind of sleeper guys. If you ever see Amir Jackson in this game, watch out. You got Hayden Hansen. I expected that at the other tight end position there. Obviously, Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway. Montrell Johnson. I heard earlier in the week that he was practicing, and it looked like he was good to go. We find out today he is good to go. And then you got Trayon Webb right behind him, Jaden Baugh, Kanan Daniels, or Jacoby Jackson. So I'm okay with that part. Justice Boone returning, which I think is going to be a really, really huge benefit for the Florida Gators because he did not play last year. He was out with a season-ending injury. You got Cameron James even right behind him at the or spot, a guy that was a top 200, top 150 guy from the 2023 class. I'm pretty pumped about that. Shelton, you back?
I'm back, baby. Who are you rambling on about?
I am on the other side where the defense is at. I'm doing a quick rundown for you, but I'm giving my opinion quickly. But if you want to kind of start where you were starting, we can
Okay,
talk
yeah,
about it, baby.
all right. So look, I think the left side of the line, we see Austin Barber, Najee Harris, none of these, and Jake Slaughter. That was no surprises there. But when we were kind of just talking about with Cam there a little bit, the right side, right? Damian George, Bryce Levitt backing up, then Cam Waits in that third position. But Cam Waits getting the start over Brandon Crenshaw. I gave you my opinion about it already, but I like the fact, again, given what we know, right? I believe that Crenshaw is going to be a better right tackle than Damian George was. And now Cam Waits has elevated past that. That speaks volumes to me of where this line truly is. And again, we criticize and we ridicule Rob Sale, and I'm up there when it comes to recruiting and bringing guys in. But something that I think Billy continues to work with him, and we saw it with Osiris Torrance, is the ability to develop the O-line and make these guys work. And I think that's what's going to be on full effect with Najee Harris, true sophomore coming in, obviously winning that position over. Barber isn't really a Rob Sale product, but Jake Slaughter really, had a big improve from last year. And then Damian George, we'll see how 1 year under Rob Sale, another full year, I guess, under Rob Sale will do for him. But Cam Waits has been somebody that's been in this cycle now for 3 years, with Rob Sale. So I'm really excited to see what this line's going to do, because we've only heard about how great Bain and this defensive line that Miami brings. So I love seeing that.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier when you were PPing. That I was shocked that Cameron Wade. Well, I actually wasn't shocked, but I expected Dixon to get the nod there.
Sure.
Obviously, he played at Louisiana Lafayette with Billy Napier, so he has a lot of familiarity with him. So I actually trust this decision that Billy Napier made here with Cameron Wakes, because he just knows so much about this guy from so long ago, before he even came to Florida. And if he can do what he did with Osiris Torrance with him, I'm okay with this person being at right tackle.
Special.
As long as you can keep that pressure off Graham Mertz, and he's like Graham Mertz sitting in the pocket in this game and not being as pressured is very, very dangerous for that Miami team.
Then we've got the tight end room, Boardingham. I love seeing Amir Jackson, true freshman, be there, right backing him up. I mean, I think we've heard some exciting things, and just his size alone, how great that is. Hayden Hanson on the other side, blocking tight end. That guy's just going to sit on the right side alongside Crenshaw or Cameron Waits now. Of course, Graham Mertz, then DJ Lagway. I think that was, we all knew he was the number 2, but the thought process is something like who would be the legitimate, number 2 guy? Is it going to be DJ? I think, I knew, but you never know. Who never know what could come out. Running back.
Some coaches will go with experience over whatever, but
yeah. And again, game time, who knows what happens. Montrell, obviously starting running back. Then we've got the F position. This F position, man, we've been hearing about the competitive depth. Boom time. Cameron James. And basically it says or because it's Cam James, Tyreek Sapp, LJ McCray. I mean, the talent in that room is unbelievable. Then you got the nose tackle position and Michael Barrow, Desmond Watson, Cam Jackson. No particular order, sorry. Desmond Watson is showing the nod as a starter right now. I had a lot to say about that, but given what he told me with the numerical value, I'm going to be reserved on my opinion, because I don't know if that's. I think Cam, like he said, I think Cam's going to trot onto the field. So I don't have a thought anymore, because he kind of ruined my take. I thought if Dez is the guy, that would fire me up. And people are like, why? Well, it's because we know what Cam does. Again, same conversation of like, I know what Cam brings to the table. So if Dez has elevated that far above that, by golly, I don't even care about who's better. Just the depth, the talent that's going to be there is nuts. And I still think it's going to be there, but we'll see.
Yeah, I like when I looked just as, I know we're going to go down the rest of the depth chart, but like when I looked at the depth chart just as a whole, I compared them to like last year and the year before. I'm like, dude, this depth chart is so much more loaded with talent than it has been the last 2 years. It's like, it's making me more pumped just to just see what's just on our defensive line. Like just at a skill level, there may be a little bit of lack of experience in some places, but just as a skill level, having TJ Searcy there at Jack, and then you have Caleb Banks who's returning, and like you just have a lot more depth, and that's what I like, and it's good depth. It's guys that were either top 250, top 200, top 150 guys that were in the 2023 class that have been into the system. I'm actually pumped about this whole depth chart right now.
It really is exciting. There's a lot of new names, but fresh, exciting talented names. I mean, again, what from
Dude,
what we
I am loving that linebacker spot too.
look, I think it only gets better, right? So Cam Banks starting at end, nose Jack is TJ Searcy. TJ Searcy had a phenomenal freshman campaign. I think it's only going to get better with a sophomore. A lot of these guys just lacked the strength and conditioning, which I think we're going to see that. Then let's get
And
to
you
the
know
line.
the biggest difference with all these guys on the defensive line and compared to Miami, they didn't have to go to the portal, really. I mean, they got Slackman, but that was a good get in the portal. Like Miami had to go into the portal to get like 3 defensive linemen.
Revamp. Yeah. And we saw how that worked out for FSU on Saturday. Shamar James, obviously, we know what he brings to the table. Junior, backed by Miles Graham, jumping senior RJ Moten. Now, RJ Moten was safety turned to linebacker, but besides the point, I mean, you still got to think like he's coming into that position. RJ Moten's no slouch to the field. Then Grayson Pup Howard starting over Derek Wingo. I believe Derek trots onto the field first. That's still my thought. And then Jaden Robinson. We've been hearing his name kind of slowly start to creep up in these practice notes as well. So that linebacker room again is it's lacking Scooby Williams, Scooby Williams. Who else do we have last year? Nunnery was a key factor.
Manny Nunnery. Yeah.
I mean, we've really revamped this linebacker room. I mean, Pup Howard, I think, is such a huge addition. Aaron Childs is not on the list, is he? He's under the Sam. He's under the Sam linebacker. Yep. So I imagine we'll see him alongside Jamarcus Weston, who has recently switched his position to that edge / strong linebacker position. And George Gums, the guy that I've been beating all off season long. I told you he's going to be somebody special. Transfer that comes in is the name the starter at that Sam position. But you heard Cam Parker talk about what that position is that it's not often on the field. So I don't think we're going to see George Gums every single play. I think he's more of a factor in that the jack position. Well, that's where we'll see him more. I think that's kind of the back it out. They can play the field is what it is. Princely was playing that a little bit last year. We would see him come off the ball a little bit, or off the line, excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, just the names, like I'm like, it's kind of like when you stargaze at like the all the 5 stars, like when you go down like a roster. I'm not saying that these guys were like 5 stars in high school or anything like that, but like when you just like look down each roster, it just looks so much better than the last couple of years. Like I am actually pumped for the D line, and that's what I said in this game. I said, look, I think the D line is going to decide this game, not the O line. I think the D line will, then you have a Cameron James over there at that position. Maybe he did play a lot better than we don't know about.
The other thing, again, the cornerback room, Sharif Denson, again, we know what he was coming out of high school from Bartram Trail, being backed up by Aaron Gates, somebody who's a true grader. He's a redshirt freshman. Aaron is, because he didn't play much at all last year. Sharif did get a few times in, hence why he's a sophomore. Cornerback Jason Marshall, 5-star cornerback. I think, look, obviously he had his ups and downs last year. I'm really looking for him to have a big one. Jakeem Jackson, who I am extremely high on. I think he is a phenomenal cornerback. To have him as the second guy as a sophomore is bigger than what people think. The times that he was out there last year, his composure, his confidence at that position, he plays it very well. And I think he's losing to the better competition in a good way. And then, of course, the safety room, we've been talking about it. My gosh, Jordan Castell gets the start. We know what Jordan's going to do. You only expect him to elevate. Backed up by Tricrest Bridges, coming from Oregon. Did he knock softs at Oregon? No, but he's a very experienced back, something we hadn't had. That's backing up Jordan Castell. Then you've got Gregory Smith, right? We have some insider information that some things may have happened to him that may have knocked him down a little bit. Nothing crazy, but was up higher in the line because of how well he's doing. Gregory Smith is somebody that I've told you guys to keep an eye on as well. Could be that Jordan Castell of last year. Not that he'll take the position, but somebody that really gets your eyeball going. And then on the other side, again, Asa Turner alongside DJ Douglas. And we've heard so many great things about DJ Douglas, right? Just hitting people, playing hard-nosed ball on top of Asa Turner. And those two guys, and then you have Bryce Thornton, again, who played a lot last year because we had to. He's now the third string. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at the safety room, and Jordan Castell, from what I've heard from a lot of people, has, like, and he was pretty good last year. And now he's even gotten even better. I mean, like, I think we saw the video where he was, like, spying on the quarterback and had the pick. Like, we haven't seen a pick like that in forever. So, like, that already had me pumped. And then you have Asa Turner coming over from Washington, a guy that was a consistent average 73, 74 PFF score. Like, he was a ball hawk, like, for Washington. And I think that he's going to make the difference at that safety spot. And I think the reason why Jason Marshall was not that great last year is because of lack of safety help. And I think now that he's got that safety help, that'll only elevate his game to be even more productive this year, especially as his senior. And it's his money year. I mean, like, he knows he's like, dude, this is it.
Yep.
This is NFL year. So I got to do this now. So now he's got all the help, and that'll only elevate Jason Marshall even more.
Look, I see kind of the comments like, who cares who starts? And I completely agree. I honestly wasn't going to probably have too much value in these depth charts, and they definitely lose their lust as the season goes on. But this is the first look we have of what we feel to be on the field, how the team views, how Billy Napier views his players, right? And that's why it's important, in my opinion, to look at. Not that you guys disagree, but it's not that I'm like, oh, who's getting this? I genuinely don't give two shits who starts. I want the best player on the football field. And this is letting us know who they feel that is the best as of now. Then, of course, I forgot the last cornerback in Devin Moore, backed up by Dejon Johnson, a true sophomore, and then Jameer Grimsley, 4-star/5-star cornerback that was a late minute transfer from Alabama. So Fletcher Westfall's up there in that third spot for left tackle, which is huge as well. Again, Christopher Williams, that left guard. I've been talking a lot about him this offseason. Had an incredible PFF score. Didn't have many snaps. But staying at 6'5", 309 pounds, redshirt sophomore, he has some experience under his belt, and I love the fact that he's backing up Najee Harris because the times that he did shine, or he was on the field, it seemed to have shine. And again, in this Rob Sell development program, he's been there the whole time. You would hope we see some massive progress. So, Dave, I'm jazzed up, man. Then here's another weird little side note, and we've got 900 strong, an hour and a half in. Could we hit 1,000? I thought we weren't going to hit it, but we may get there, and that would fire me up. We got Brandon Rabasco backing up Trey Smack at 6'4", 208 pounds. I don't know if that guy, if he doesn't kick, I mean, put him out somewhere else. And then Nicholas Inglis, the freshman punter, 6'5", 242. I think these boys are playing the wrong position. What's up, bro?
242. He better have one hell of a leg,
bro. What? Oh wait, we didn't check Big Dez's weight. What was Big Dez? I mean, that's always a 449.
446. 449. Yeah, 449.
He was 480 last year coming to this time, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he dropped down to like 436. It's all muscle, man. All muscle.
I mean, I would love to know what the muscle mass is. And then you guys see here, you might freak out. Montrell is the starter for kick return. We have insiders believing that that's not going to be the case because you can see it's or, which probably means that it's a numerical thing because look at the kick return. It's Montrell, then 1-6-13. Yeah, I don't think it's.
Yeah, there's nothing but ors on that list. It could be any of them. And like, look, Elijah Badger, like I know a lot of people said, oh, why is Elijah Badger returning kick? Dude, he was good returning kicks. Like, I'll have him back there as long as he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. So I don't think that's the lineup properly. I think it's going by number, which is, I think, an interesting way of not letting the opposing team what's going on. We're going to get our man Tyler in here if he's still watching. But before we do that, go ahead.
I'm buzzing from this depth chart and this alcohol.
You know what I'm saying? I want to play this clip from Chris Doering before we get into our pick'ems, and we'll talk about that before the pick'ems. But take a listen to this.
I think everybody I talk to, I'm so tired of hearing from friends of mine that are outside of the Gator fan base that tell me, oh, is your coach on the hot seat? You guys are going to have a hard time winning 6 games this year. You know what? I've been around this team in the spring. I've been out to practice multiple times this fall. I've watched scrimmages. This is not last year's team. This is not the feel around last year's team. This is not the talent of last year's team. This is not the inexperience of last year's team. There's new coaches around as well. This has a very different feel. And when I came on, Coach Napier's sound was talking about how excited he is to go watch this team play. Like, he genuinely likes this team. And I know a lot of people talk about being optimistic and what they want to see, but I've talked to him a bunch since the spring, and I legitimately feel like this is a team that he feels like is a lot different. And I think they kind of relish being the underdog. It's the same storyline everywhere you go, is just how bad Florida is. Well, your basis of how bad Florida is based on last year. It has nothing to do, because there's very few people that have had the access that I've had to seeing what this team looks like in 2020.
Here's what's important to note about this. Chris Doran has come on our show and said this. He says it on air, that because he's a Florida great, that if he goes one direction, Florida rips him. The Florida fans rip him. If he goes the other way, he's considered a Florida homer. So in this profession, he's had to just say, F it. I have to give you my honest and true opinion. Last year, go back and look, he wasn't very high on the Gators. And I was frustrated because he's just giving it to you how he genuinely feels. Obviously, we are here. I'm always going to be fired up. That's how we approach it. But he works at SEC to be able to manage that and talk about all the teams in the SEC. You can't be biased. Although it's always going to be there underlining, you can't have it that way. And the last little bit there that he says, and I believe this to the core because of Stephen Harris being invited to the scrimmage and nobody else being allowed in, that I think a lot of former players have been going back much, much more than what's probably been let on. And to hear Dorian say, and again, Judd Davis, who we've had on the show multiple times, obviously speaks very closely to Dorian. I haven't talked to Judd, but Judd's always had a pretty good pulse of what's going on as well, too. To hear Dorian to be that definite and the confidence in this football team, that should fire you up more than, I mean, you know what I say and all that, but any On3 article, anybody else, because again, he's not here to hype you up. He's not here to be a sunshine pumper. He is genuinely giving you the basis of what it is. And I think the reason he's so fired up is he loves Billy. He loves what he's doing and he's seeing that it's working. And that's where the hype comes from. And again, I gave you all that. This isn't Dorian, a former Gator, just going hoorah. This is a legitimate thought process on what Florida's doing. What are your thoughts on that, Davey?
Yeah, I've known Chris Doering never to be the most biased person ever. I've seen him say we were going to lose games. I've seen him say, like, hey, I don't think this Florida team's very good on defense or offense in the past. Like, for him to say something like that, and I know he gets a lot more access than any of us do. He gets to see all the practices. He gets to see all the scrimmages. He gets the notes, or he gets videos of everything because he has to do a national job on television. So for him to say something like that, like, I'm fired up about it, but I know it's talking season and I know all that kind of stuff. But like, hey, man, game 1 is Saturday. And for me to hear that on top of looking at this depth chart and I just.
Booze is flowing. Days fucked up.
It reignites my mind to saying, like, because I've already predicted Florida to win, but it really just reassures me of my pick. So I'm pretty happy. And yeah, this podcast tastes pretty good too.
Brendan says how he sounds like you did last offseason. Shout out to Brendan, by the way. It's over here on the table. I can't reach it. He sent me a orange and blue Xbox controller, which is absolutely incredible. We use it on Friday night.
Really?
I'm playing with it's so cool. Playing with my uncle. I'm gonna make him use Miami in Gainesville. We'll be doing a live show again. We're gonna be packed all week. There is 900 strong. We are almost 2 hours in, and here's what's left. We have our pick and show.
Everybody that's listening, you're about to miss out on Drunk David. So you might as well just come in.
I wouldn't leave now. This is not the time to go. We got to pick them, and then we have a giveaway for the ball. So let's get into the pick 'em, and then we'll do the giveaway. This show I told you was gonna be crazy. I told you we were gonna shake the internet. It's exactly what we did, and I appreciate you, boys and girls. Let's get to the pick'ems though. Let me go ahead and get my man Tyler in here. Appreciate you waiting, big dog. What's up, man?
What's happening? Rough week for me, buddy. Rough week.
Is this the new Chad Beaver?
This is the new Stephen Hawley, the new FSU guy. Yeah, look, Tyler was on our show Saturday. He does a phenomenal job. Cheers for the wrong team. Wish he cheered for another team, but by God, this guy knows what he's talking about. And he has been a huge sport.
My goal is to get this chat to like me by the end of the season. That is my goal.
I already like you already because he's already got a beverage. I already like him already.
He's a vibe. I don't know why. He got a lot of flack the first time he got on the show. I'm like, this guy's good. He knows what he's doing. Saturday show, I think you won a lot of people over, and I think the more we have you on, I think they're really going to enjoy it. Look, he's a good sport. He got blasted on Saturday. Look at him. He's still repping it. You can't have nothing but respect from it. I got you the cowboy hat as your logo, Tyler.
I love it.
Tyler's going to be the cowboy hat. I'm back to my mullet days. Dave's cargo shorts, as always, if you guys are new here. That's how we represent our picks. Nobody's seen these yet. That's why Tyler's looking pretty close, trying to see what's going on. We use the lines here. So if this is your first time watching the Pick'em show, it's if you take Minnesota, they got to cover the 1.5 to get the point, right? If you take Ugo, they got to cover 13.5. It's not just pick 'em money line straight up. Dave, I'm going to you, boozy boy.
Dog?
First, then I'll go, then Tyler, and then we'll rotate. So we got UNC.
Let me take a confidence drink. Hold on. I got to win this bad boy.
You guys are killing me. Real quick, quick super chat from Sorley says, $2. You lost. I love it.
Oh man,
The good days are coming. The good days are coming.
Yeah, we've heard that. All right, Dave.
I
What
love
do you
that.
got? UNC by 1.5 or Minnesota to get it done?
Minnesota. I think they've had a good defense in the past.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna go UNC though. I'm gonna go with the odds. I think UNC will be a better team this year. Vodka. Vodka tells me UNC. You gonna move my
I lost
my
Tyler's
little
hat for a minute. I was worried.
You know, it was my hat.
Who did you say? Sorry, I
You're
wasn't even listening. I got distracted.
right there. Move my cargoes right there. You're right on the spot. There you go.
Right there. I'm gonna go with you. I got UNC as well.
Is this game in Minnesota? It's a big factor for me. I didn't get to see it. It's not the one I looked at. So
I'll look real quick.
Yeah, it's great. Look at
What do
this.
we got? What do we got?
Look at Ty out here.
I like Minnesota in Minnesota with their running game. And if that's the case, I definitely like Minnesota in this football game.
Okay.
Plus
Man,
one.
this side don't want to work. Come on, ESPN. Let's go. Let's see. Minnesota. It's gonna be hard to find. None of these teams are ranked, so I'll go to FBS. It's in top 25. Might take me a while, guys. Hold on. Vodka David's still going through the list. So
To be fair, I kind of got
Okay.
I got bombarded here because he said they were all in the top 25.
yes, it is in Minnesota.
Oh,
I do like the Gophers at home week 1. I'm going to take them plus 1.5.
I love it. Let's go. We're already dicing it up here. All right, we got next game, Clemson and Georgia. This is in a neutral site, Tyler. I forgot that. My bad. The rest of them are top 25. I don't know why I picked this game. I couldn't tell you.
You're good. You're good.
But I think maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know why I picked it, but here we are. Uga, I'll go next. I'll go first on this one. I got to take the dogs to cover here. I think it'll be close. My mentality is I think Uga scores 28, maybe 35. I don't see Clemson getting past 20, 21. That's my thought on that. So I'm taking the dogs to cover here. Ty, you're up.
Who's going?
I thought the line of this game was going to be around the 10.5 mark, and I thought that was where I was going to land. And it's because I like Clemson's defense. I'm worried about Cade Klubnik. I mean, can he make enough plays in that second year in his offense? I don't know. I'm leaning towards Clemson because it's week 1 and maybe Georgia falls off a little, or not falls off, but they just have a little struggle at the beginning. So give me Clemson plus 13.5 in a neutral site.
Look at Ty over here by himself. I love it, David.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit of a point, man. Georgia lost a lot of wide receivers. We had Ra Thomas. We all know about Georgia in jail and how that works. But they lost receivers. They lost Brock Bowers. They bring Delp in. I'm still going to go Georgia just based on the talent that they have, defense. But I think that spread may not be 13.5. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Georgia.
Look at that. So I was right on the side here. Ty, we got Ohio State versus the Cuse. Ohio State's favored by 17 against Syracuse. Who do you got?
This breaks my heart because I honestly think that Ohio State's probably the most talented team in the country, and I cannot stand Ohio State, but they have athletes all over the field, and I just think they're going to get it done this year, and they're my pick to win the national title. So if they don't cover 17.5 against Syracuse, I'd feel pretty stupid.
Okay. Davey?
Yeah, Ohio State has really, really big trouble beating Michigan, who recruits on like a 15th ranked talent profile while they recruit top 3 every year. So I have to give them a little bit of an edge there with Syracuse, but I don't think Syracuse has enough talent to beat Ohio State, so I'm going to pick Ohio State.
Well, here we go, boys. Buckle up. Ohio State has one problem only. It's been their problem for the last 3 years, and that's Ryan Day. Their talent has been there year in and year out. Now they have a new quarterback again, a quarterback that could not keep his job at Kansas State, loses it to a true sophomore, does not much playing time, and they've got Cuse, obviously has Ohio State's old quarterback. I think there's going to be a little bitterness there. I think it's going to be a tough one. Fran Brown coming in from Georgia, a winning coach, knows how to get it done, has been recruiting his tail off up there. Now, I know the recruiting doesn't translate onto the football field, but I think Syracuse, the culture, the program is changing. They just revamped their stadium. Again, I know that doesn't matter on the football field, but this is the mentality that I'm headed into. We've talked about week 1 dust. I think Cuse covers the 17. very easily. And a lot of it has to do with what we saw with that Georgia Tech game in FSU. I think the game's going to slow it down. These big spreads, I think they're going to be harder to cover, not because the teams aren't good enough. I just think the game's slowing down a little bit with the helmet communication. And I think these spreads will change throughout the year, one way or the other. Maybe it flips to the other side. We'll see. But that's where I'm going to go with that. Dave, you're back up. We got Penn State, who's a really, favorite of team this year, as they always are coming into it. -8.5 heading against West Virginia, but don't sleep on that Big 12 West Virginia team. I saw a few brackets that had them in their final 12. Could be a nail biter here. Davey?
Yeah, you read my mind there. I think Penn State's severely overrated every single year. I think they never really generate an offense. Their defense is okay. I don't think it's great. I'm picking West Virginia. I'm so sick and tired of Penn State being like ranked all the way up there, and then they wind up dropping something, and they played nobody. In West Virginia, I think they got enough gas to upset the Penn State.
Ty?
So this game comes down to me, and it's an interesting matchup. It's Wyatt Milam against Adol Carter. We got one of the best defensive end against one of the best left tackles that no one knows about. And to me, I love Penn State's running game, but I am a big believer in the West Virginia Mountaineers this year. I think they're going to surprise some teams. Give me Garrett Green, C.J. Donaldson, Jaheim White running the football. They make enough stops. I'm going to say they win outright. Forget the 8. Give me them for the dub.
That's it.
This is why I love Tyler. This guy knows every freaking roster in the college football landscape. It is the guy. He could, again.
Hey.
I said it on Saturday. He's probably making names up, but I'm not going to question him. He says it with so much confidence. I have to believe him.
Hey,
Look,
he's a student of the game.
I'd lie to you if I
love the game.
I'd lie to you if I tell you I knew much about West Virginia football. The only thing I know about West Virginia is Will Greer played there, and that's my boy, Will Greer. We miss you forever and always. But
you made the league.
Yeah, one thing I do know about West Virginia is I know this because when I saw that, I go, wow, that's interesting. On the ESPN production of talent that is being brought back, I believe Virginia was either 1 or 2 with like 80% of the team coming back. And to kind of what you just stated, there's a lot of quality football players coming back to that team, and I think Penn State could find themselves on their back early in week 1 like we saw last week. Next up, we've got the game of the week, the Gators versus the Tropical Storms. I'm going first on this one. I'm not going to waste any time because I've been preaching it all week, all year, and I'll be saying it till I'm blue in the face. Merch is better than Cam Ward. Give me the Gators. Suck it. Ty?
Well, I did a lot of research on this game because I knew this game would be on the board. There was no doubt in my mind. So I'm trying to win the chat over, first of all. Let's just get that right. I think that if this game was 4 weeks later and in a different spot, I would like Miami because I do think that once they Cam Ward and Damian Martinez and Xavier Respo and Jacoby George and Ruben Baines on that defensive end is a tough guy to stop. So once all those guys like kind of learn how to play together, I think they're going to be good, but not week 1. Give me the Gators plus 2.5.
I love it. I love it. I'm not even going to let you say anything, Dave. I'm not going to let you mess this up while you're drunk. I'm just going to go ahead and put this over here. I'm not even going to let you talk right now. All right,
You got to give me my time, baby. You got to give me my time. I've been talking all week. I've been on every show that there is. I've been saying it all week. I am done talking. I am done saying my analysis on anything. Fuck Miami. Fuck their fans. And we're beating the ACC's Vanderbilt on Saturday. Give me the Gators.
I love it. Okay, I'm glad I got to cut you off. All right, we've got the Sunday night and the Monday night game. Ty, I think you're first on this one. We've got LSU favored by 4.5 against USC.
Yeah, every year I feel like this team gets overrated and they're overhyped every single year. USC, somehow they're always ranked in the top 25 and they're never there at the end. They're overhyped. They don't have nowhere near the physicality that LSU has. Harold Perkins off the corner is one of the best linebackers in the country. And you have Newsmeyer going in there against Miller Moss. Newsmeyer's a way better football player than Miller Moss. The only guy that even scares me on USC is the Carrion Branch. I ain't worried about him. Give me LSU. Never a sweat.
Davey?
You got to go ahead and put my, my cargo's on the Gator logo there. I'm still outside. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, LSU has Nussmeier as their quarterback. I think maybe at the beginning of this game they may struggle to find some sort of connection with Nussmeier. I know he's played, but I still think that LSU's got too much talent, and I think they beat USC, especially after losing Caleb Williams there. So give me LSU.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think LSU by a million on this one, and I don't like to say that with happiness. I say it just because I think USC and Lincoln Riley have disappointed me time and time again. Lincoln Riley, uh, I think his job I know he signed a big contract too, but I think his seat might be harder than people realize as well. I know they're hyped up about this new quarterback coming in, but you just had arguably one of the top quarterbacks in college football history in Caleb Williams and couldn't get it done. Defensively, obviously, was the issue. This is, I know, an LSU game, but defensively, trench wise, they're not ready for LSU. They're not ready for the Big Ten. I think USC gets absolutely walloped. And I think USC's being good's good for college football, and I'm disappointed. And I think Lincoln Riley ran away from Oklahoma to get away from competition, all just to get himself mixed up into the Big Ten, which is just going to be another brutal of a cycle. So I think it's going to be a bloodbath for him. Now we head into the Monday night game, and I promise you, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, Tyler, I'm not saying this to troll you, big guy. I listen, I know you know where I'm headed with it. It goes back to my argument above. I think 16 is a lot to cover. I think Boston College gave you guys some troubles last year with their Kyler Murray-esque quarterback. That's who he's drawing comps to. Bill O'Brien coming in, a true professional head coach that's part of that Saban tree as well. I know they have a fantastic strength and conditioning program because they stole our guy and old Craig Fitzgerald. He was supposed to be our guy, and then Bill O'Brien gets the job at Boston College and brings it in there. I think Boston College is going to surprise some people. And again, I think just the last week you guys are coming off of, there could be a little bit of trouble. Not that FSU doesn't get it done. Again, I just think 16's a lot. I got to go with the old Boston College and Matt Ryan here. We'll let Dave go, then we'll let Tyler close it out. You're not up, Tyler.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, after that debacle I seen last week and Bud Elliott out there saying Florida State's got the national best defensive line out there, I knew he was full of shit anyway. But I expected Florida State still to win that game anyway against Georgia Tech, and how they lost that game with DJ Uiagalelei. I've got to pick Boston College. Like, I literally just have to pick them. Now, if you're going against spread, maybe Florida State with the spread, but I'm just going to go Boston College anyway because I just think Boston College is a better team right now.
All right, Ty, you're up, Bubba.
So last year, that game was a lot closer than people really realized. It was 31-7 going in the third quarter, and then some debacles just went haywire, and everything started going the wrong way. I do like Castellanos. I think he's a very good player. We do struggle to defend running quarterbacks as we have in the past. I actually do like us. I didn't like us last week, and you will be the first to. I'd be the first to tell you I was nervous about that game because Georgia Tech can run the football. That's the same team that almost beat Georgia last year, 31-23. So I was nervous about the game. I knew that. I'm not nervous about this game at all. I think we get it done. Sold out crowd in Tallahassee already. I don't even think this is going to be a sweat. They got something to prove. I like Florida State in this game.
To cover?
Yes.
Saddle up, baby. Tyler, I love it, man. Let me read these super chats while you're here with us. We got Kevin Famous says $5 says, hey, first time, just hoping everyone in their family is doing well. Go Gators. Kevin, thank you for the $5. He also sent another one for $2 says Gators by a million. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed your first time, man. This is a hell of a show to join, but we're humping and rolling. Tristan Creel, $2. Long travel just to lose. International loser. Damn. Tyler just taking strays. My goodness. Tyler Bohannon says Ohio State's plays Akron. Do they? Did I get it wrong? They
Maybe
do.
You got it
they do. Good thing.
Well, there you go.
Ohio State.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's going to pick Ohio State now. Oh, man, I don't know.
That's so weird how I got that so backwards. Where did I see Syracuse at?
I didn't even know they played Syracuse either because I wasn't even paying attention. So, yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure everybody here is going to pick Ohio State against Akron.
Ohio State doesn't play Syracuse at all. I don't know where I got that.
What's the spread? What's the spread of that Akron game?
That matchup to happen.
It's 48.
48?
Yeah, I'm taking Akron. I'm going back to Akron. No,
I would go to Akron too if they're giving them 48.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know either. I
My
don't
dark
know.
horse win the Heisman's Will Howard. I'm still sticking with Ohio State. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do Ohio State too, man. That's risky there.
An absolute blunder there from the boys. Well, Tyler, we appreciate you coming on here, man, and staying up late and hanging out with us. We're going to do the giveaway and then close this bad boy down. But Tyler, you're going to be seeing him a lot this year. Fantastic job, Tyler. We appreciate you, man.
Tyler. Guys, man, take it easy, brother.
Boys and girls, great stuff there. That was fun. That was a blast. Let's get into the last bit. We're here 2 hours in, 800 strong. You guys are zonked. I'm zonked. Told you it was going to be a absolute electric show, and I hope we didn't disappoint. I hope we lived up to the hype. What do you think, Dave?
I think we did, man. I mean, you've got Drunk Dave on here. You've had all sorts of guests on this show, and it's week one, man. You got to go big or go home on week one, and we've got a lot of people still listening to us, 820 strong, and we're almost in the show with a contest to win a signed football by. Go ahead, Shelton.
Danny Warfel, ladies and gentlemen. Again, how you got into this is if you bought it yourself.
No, man.
99 entries, boys. That's what we're looking at here. 99 entries on the dot. 25 seconds. Set this bad boy. So just so you guys are aware, this is going to be really funny when you see this because I had to do it's by order number. So nobody's going to know if they're winning or not, which just makes this thing even better. So I'll tell you who won though once we do it. It's hilarious that we're doing it like this. But that's how I did it, was by order number. So I'm going to make this bad boy big. And we'll see who wins it. Nobody's going to know. On your mark, set. And there goes number 2530. Oh! This is going to be hilarious. Nobody's going to know who wins this bad boy.
Oh, boy.
Who do you like here with 10 seconds left? We got the green duck. We got the pink duck.
I'll do
the Trump duck.
2463.
2466. Pull away. It's going to be 2466. 52. 52 gets it done. All right, 2466 is your winner. And 2466, you are 2466. Michael Forrester from Florida.
What's that quacking?
That's the duck still. Michael Forrester won the Danny Werfel sign ball. So there you
Michael
have it.
Forrester, if you are listening or if you are on Twitter, send us a DM.
Yes, please message us. I'll shoot him a text or email. If he doesn't get back to me within, usually I give him probably a couple days to respond to claim their award. But usually these guys get back. So congrats, Michael. Thank you again for buying a shirt, man. Again, we're doing this for Beat Kentucky, Beat Georgia. Those shirts are up right now. So if you guys want to be a part of the next giveaway, which is a bunch of signed stuff, go scoop up a shirt. We love it. Oh, almost 90. Yeah. And if you buy multiple ones, your number was in there twice. I went through and looked through each individual one. There's some people who ordered 4. Greatly appreciated you guys ordered all those shirts. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and obviously I interviewed the Pounceys over the weekend. I'm supposed to get some signed bottles. I'm going to give some away to my closest, but if I have any spare, we will give them away on the show. Twin Pea whiskey.
760 strong on a Wednesday night at 2 hours in. You can't ask for anything better than that. You guys are incredible, Gator Nation. You guys showed out tonight. I know you show out Wednesday. Again, Friday will be live 4 o'clock from Alma Mater. Then again, Saturday morning, live 9:35 for our college game day show. It's going to be nuts, boys. I'm zonked.
Yeah.
I don't have...
I'm going to tell you what, these last 2 weeks, I've been filled with either going on a radio show, interview the Pounceys, or going on some other shows. I'm done. I blocked off Thursday because I got to pack to go to Gainesville. I got to mow the lawn. So anybody that's want me to come on at Thursday, it's done. I'm done. You can meet me Friday or Saturday in Gainesville.
I love it, boys. Appreciate you as always. You guys are incredible. Gators by a million. Until next time, I'm Shelton.
And I just report the news and fuck Miami.
Peace and love, baby.